Legends never die when the world is calling you. Can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die, they become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, relentless, you survive. They never lose hope when everything's cold and the fighting's near. It's deep in their bones, they'll rot into smoke when the fire is fierce. Oh, pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die when the world is calling you. Can you hear them screaming out?
Hello and welcome everyone, we are back for Serenity Gaming Wintersplit, and we will be going into our first series in just a short time. I'm Kachka and I will be hosting the pre-show, but I have got two casters and one of them is new, so I would like to introduce to you Gaspam, who will be the play-by-play, and he will be joined by Litzy. So guys, how are you doing?
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so very much for the introduction, Dr. Kaska. It is an absolutely wonderful day today here in the United States of America. And let me tell you, I am so absolutely grateful and looking forward to casting matches for the Serenity Gaming League. Super excited and glad to be here.
So now we have two Americans casting a game at once for a Danish league. Little bit odd, but it's going to be pretty interesting, I think. So we're going to be having a lot of fun casting this game, and we have a pretty interesting matchup. We have a new team, Virgo, and Oracle we have seen once before, and Oracle did perform very, very well. They 3-0'd their opponent, but we haven't seen anything from Virgo.
Yeah, that is a matchup that will be very, very interesting. Pretty much new teams, as you said. We only saw one best of 3 of them, so I will actually ask you, what are your expectations for this game? How do you think we will see play out before our eyes?
Well, one thing we have seen from Oracle is we know that they're very, very good at playing the objective. It seems like they took all of their Barons before 25 minutes. They're usually just right on that, getting on it, taking the Baron just straight away, and it catches the enemy team off guard a lot. And oftentimes when the enemy team comes to contest them, they will just continue to fight in river, just poke away until they manage to get a pick, turn the fight in their favor. At one point, it seemed like they fought in river for 5, almost 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, that is something to look forward to. Gaspam, do you expect anything to see from these teams? Anything in particular that will be interesting to you, that you picked up?
Well, one of the things I'd like to talk about here is just kind of a general statement, because I am new to the organization and new to these teams. I think that making any kind of blanket statements about the squads themselves gonna be a little bit out of my wheelhouse until I get some games and some stream watching under my belt for the Serenity Gaming League. But I want to talk about maybe more specifically the general metagame trends that we have seen coming into this preseason and coming off the tail end of that Season 8. And one of the big ones, as you've said, early Barons, early game ends. And the snowball meta in Season 8 was a really big driving factor with the changes that we've seen Riot make to the game over the past few months. And something that I'm always curious to see, because I believe that the last matches were played really before the turret plating changes came off the ground. That's something that is very much changed some of the dichotomies going on between the teams. That extra gold in the early game, especially if you have pushing lanes, very, very powerful as far as acceleration goes.
Yeah, those turret platings, you can get so much gold on them, and it rewards those early pushers that will just sort of split push really, really early game. You can manage to push the enemy laner underneath the tower, and it also promotes some early grouping to try and get some plating down as a team, because that gold is distributed to everyone who is within the tower range.
Yeah, and right now though, I just want to talk about something else before we will obviously jump back into the gameplay itself. But this is a completely new half of this split, pretty much. The points have been wiped completely. New teams, there are 10 teams per division, and you only play other team once. That's a single round robin. So, how do you think that will affect how the teams play? Because, well, every single series counts, even though you are playing 9 of them.
So, if you end up playing a team and losing against them, and later in the series you're tied with them, you're going to lose that matchup in the scores because you did lose against them before. So it's really important to every game bring out your best showing that you can, because just falling behind in just one game could theoretically cause you a lot of problems in the future.
I feel like there's going to be two sides to this coin as far as what teams are going to be looking to do, because even in series play, when you're only going in one best of 3 against any given team, this creates an environment where, one, you're always going to be looking for your strongest picks, or two, if you're a squad that is capable of cheesing wins off an opponent with, compositions that are kind of out of left field or things that are very strong situationally, those are going to be major tools to use to rack up wins that a squad otherwise might not be able to achieve. And those are just so huge, especially when there's not a second part of the round robin, to maybe even out some of those scores. So I'm going to be looking for maybe unorthodox strategies or teams just sticking to their own bread and butter.
Yeah, talking about unorthodox strategies or strategies in general, when Nico was released, that was quite a while back, she was not allowed in the Wintersplit. Well, the Kraken has been released, and I can tell you I really dislike this champion already, but what are your takes on it? Do you expect teams to pick it up, and if so, then how?
Well, Nico is a little bit of a strange beast. We've seen her mostly in the mid lane, sometimes in jungle, and every once in a while see her as a support character. But most often mid lane and jungle, her passive allowing her to disguise herself as a teammate can cause for some pretty interesting plays, because if you're a mid laner, you could roam to the bot lane and pretend that you are your jungler. And it can make for... So then people will think, okay, well, their jungler is in bot lane, so I will be able to have some presence in the top lane. But Nico's jungler is actually top lane. So there's a lot of mind games that can happen there. So she's pretty interesting to play. She has a very unique play style beyond just her abilities. And her ultimate is incredibly powerful in team fights. It's a huge AoE stun and damage, and it gives her a very big shield. So seeing teams use that properly will be really, really important, and we may just be seeing her get banned out straight away because she is so powerful.
I want to echo the sentiment that Litzy had about Nico's ult being an incredibly powerful tool. I think it is, as far as ultimate power levels go, I think you could reasonably shortlist it in the top 10 in the entire game. Maybe even a little bit higher up in those rankings as well. That ultimate is just insanely powerful. I want to point out that Nico's passive, the whole disguising herself thing, the power of that is inversely proportional to the level of coordination of the team that you're facing. If an enemy team has you warded out, has vision down, knows where the jungle is, that disguise isn't going to do the Nico that much good. But if a team is falling behind in ward coverage, it can really be a snowballing tool, especially if both the Nico and the jungler are fed.
Yeah, it is interesting that you are talking about the coordination of the teams, because one thing when Oracle played against Ares for the spot in Division 1 that we noticed is the big difference between Division 1, which is what we are seeing right now, and Division 2, is that coordination. Teams in Division 1, the teams that we are going to be seeing, well, in this match, also tomorrow, and for the first 5 matches, I believe, they tend to be pretty organized. So do you think that it will even be contested? And talking about organization in general, how does that affect how the teams come into the draft and how they decide to play?
Well, like I said, vision is incredibly important with Nico, because knowing if she has roamed somewhere, knowing where she's roaming so you don't get fooled by her passive is very, very important. So we're going to have to be looking at how these teams are wording and making sure that they don't end up getting a little bit confused about what's going on.
I'd like to follow up on that with the whole vision, the coordination point, is that if you're looking at teams that have played together for a significant amount of time, really regardless of skill level, you see individual player mechanical skill kind of taking a backseat to teams who are just all on the same page, and they are very, very capable of making plays that you normally would associate with teams that are of an even higher skill level. Because again, once you have players that have each other's backs, you can see just incredible things happen in game, plays being made in team fights, collapses that are just out of this world. And I'm so excited to see that from some of these squads in the upper division here of the Serenity Gaming League.
Alright, well, do you think that there is are there any players that you have noticed that could stand out, or generally, whilst you were just looking at the teams, unfortunately on paper for now, but just in 15 minutes, hopefully in the game, was there anything that stood out to you? Is there anything that you think we can expect to be the big point of this game, the deciding factor, and the show-off point for both or either of these teams?
So the coordination obviously is going to be one thing, and the team fights, knowing when to go in and when to lead, that's really where the solo queue is separated from these teams that are not only just in voice chat, but they've played together before. They know how each other think and how they work and what they're comfortable with and what they're not. So you see these teams, they have very, very coordinated pushes and disengages. So if they see someone out of position, you see 5 people jump on top of that person rather than someone maybe pinging it and another person not noticing it and stuff like that.
All right, Gasman, did you want to say anything about that, or?
I was just going to echo my previous statement that I just don't have enough experience with the players of the Serenity Gaming League to really make a statement one way or the other. I am, however, really looking forward to the match today and hoping that both teams have players and plays to impress.
Yeah, the pro draft should be going on in just 12 minutes, so we have got some time to talk about, you know, what we could be seeing. We already talked new exciting stuff, but I feel like we said that so many times, and I mean, yeah. Is there anything else, let's see, you might want to talk about?
I mean, as far, if we just go back to Nico for a little bit, this is how Riot always introduces a new character, is they over-tuned them slightly to the start, so then everyone will spend their blue essence on them, and then when it comes around to once they've been in the game for a month or so, they start getting nerfs the next few patches and they come back to a reasonable thing. We've seen that time and time again. So I don't think that Nico will always be as powerful as she is, but I think just partially because she is a new character, she is as strong as she is. So if we do see a Nico, not only will it be are they really, really powerful, but because this character hasn't been in the game for a very long time, will they be able to really pull out Nico's full potential? I was looking at the OP.GGs of the different mid laners and junglers on these teams, and I haven't seen any, I've seen very little Nico play. So I don't know if we're going to be seeing it.
I would say that if you're looking at Nico as a champion, I think she's... Riot kind of made a mistake with the release date of Zoe when she came out last year. But aside from Zoe and Nico, the newer champions have really not been quite so powerful right out of the gate. And that's a trend that they've been kind of moving away from over the past couple of years. I think the real strength for Nico's kit is that she has a relatively low threshold of execution, even when compared to some of the other champions they've come out with recently. Because, I mean, Zoe, very strong pick. Also, very difficult to use effectively. You saw in the pro scene, those are players who play the game for a living, they will be capable of really bringing out the best in a specific character. Zoe, not as mechanically easy as people were kind of making her out to be, though she was overtuned, very strong. Nico's strength comes from the fact that there's really no part of her kit that is insanely mechanically intensive. If you've played a mid laner and know how to play a mage, you can probably play Nico effectively. And with the tools in her kit currently, it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, especially that AoE ultimate, but I feel like we really exhausted the Nico topic as much as it is possible. We really talked about that champion a lot, and you know, we'll have to see if teams even prioritize it at all, because as Litzy say, they might not have picked it up in OPGG. We don't know what they're playing in scrims, but you know, a fun fact. So you can see in the top below the teams who is coaching them. Well, Vand is actually coaching 3 teams right now. I mean, I'm not going to ask you to analyze it, but that's a pretty interesting thing when you think about it. Also, it does give you the more multi-dimensional view of that league, since you are seeing it from the perspective of multiple teams.
Yeah, Van, he's been around in Division 1 for a while, whereas Virgo's coach Law, I haven't really seen him a whole lot, and he doesn't seem to be coaching any other team, so it could be that Van understands this division a little bit more, and he knows what to teach his team. But if Virgo's coach Law, if maybe he has something up his sleeve, maybe he knows something that we don't, and it could be that he's coached for teams in other competitions in other divisions. So we may be seeing something there. He has played in. I just got a note. He had, but this is his first time coaching.
Yeah, I mean, you know, seeing new coaches definitely is interesting draft-wise. It's not something that really stands out. So it will mostly only be in that in that draft, but also, you know, getting the information that Law on Virgo, well, he has apparently always been in SRG, so he knows the teams pretty well. Not sure how that's going to help you against an external team, but I mean, one thing I can say for sure is that in the first half of the split, the drafts did in some games play a very crucial role on how the game went itself.
Right, knowing how your team plays and creating a draft around that, knowing how your front line plays. If you're playing a more pick-centric comp, or you playing a laning phase composition, or you may be doing a team fighting composition, all these things will change how you draft, and the draft will change how you play. And also knowing probably what will get banned, and having the flexibility to work around that. If you have a one trick on your team and his hero gets banned, then he's useless. What are you going to do? So a lot of this is adaptability, not just knowing how to play one hero really well, but knowing how to play a whole slew of heroes and different play styles is really important for a team in this upper division.
Yeah, it definitely is. We are just 2 minutes away from going into the pro draft. No, Vant, I am not casting. We have some better guys on the block right here, so you know, not today. Anything else, guys, you want to talk about? We have just, you know, we have 2 minutes. We can talk about stuff.
One of the points I'd like to bring up here is that we're heading into really the end of the preseason for 9. Going to be seeing some interesting picks coming out today, almost doubtless. And one of the big things that's always kind of in the forefront of my mind as far as drafting goes and what teams are going to be looking to pick, what are the AD carries or bot lane champions over the course of the last year? We've seen mages in the role. What kind of characters are going to be picked for that bot lane carry role? I'm sure we'll see here in a few minutes, but I have some picks that I've been kind of looking at. Sivir has been gaining stock as far as running bulldozer compositions goes, and I'm curious to see what other picks some of these Serenity squads have in the back of their pockets.
Looking at the players that have played before, what we have seen, Horth, he really does enjoy playing more later game ADCs. We've seen Kaisa and Jinx and Xayah from him before, not only in the solo queue games, but in the games that he played for us. They did play sort of these later hyper carry ADCs, and because of that, they usually played much more defensive in their bot lane. And as far as the other team, Virgo, like I said, we only have the op.ggs to go off of. So his name is Lollipop17B. I'll just call him Lollipop. He plays Lucian, which is a little bit interesting, more that early game, and a little bit of Ezreal as well. So he may be seeing some of that.
Yeah, we could be seeing some of that. The pro draft links are out. The teams will be getting ready, so I think there is nothing else for me to do but to hand it over to you guys, because, you know, the draft will start soon, and yeah, I'm handing it over to the casters now.
Alrighty, so once we get these links pulled up and the teams start getting their picks in, we'll be able to look at that properly. So, like I said, we're probably going to be seeing the Nico ban. That's what I'm expecting to see straight out of the gate. But anything else that you may be looking for?
Talked about Lucian coming into the draft. I think Lucian is one of the premier early game AD carries. Pairs very well with supports like Braum, who are very strong in a metagame where you've got a lot of skill shots, a lot of those projectiles. And especially if you're looking for that early tower gold, courtesy of the tower plating, Braum's unbreakable AB to really get rid of some of that projectile damage. And I'd like to give a big shout out to Casca for running the pre-game show for the match today. Just a wonderful job hosting that. Thank you so much for coming in and doing that for me, especially as a new caster. Really appreciate that. Hey, looks like Pro Draft has started, and I'd like to do a big introduction here for the winter season of Serenity Gaming League. I am Gaspom, joined here by Litzy as we get this champion select underway into the Pro Draft. It's SRG Virgo versus KMG Oracle, and already we have a couple bans on the board.
Yep, so mine is still loading in apparently, so I am flying a little bit blind, so how about you tell me what's going on?
Absolutely. SRG Virgo has already banned out the Kaisa and the Xin Zhao. Oracle firing back with the Yasuo. And now Darius bans, really targeting that mid and top lane. Those very effective fighters going to be big picks for Virgo, denied by Oracle. Next up, Virgo banning the Ezreal for the first part of their ban phase. One more from Oracle before we kick off the actual picks in this champion select. We'll see what Oracle goes to take off the board.
So pretty interested to see Virgo taking out Ezreal, since, like I said, we have seen their ADC playing a little bit of Ezreal, so they're already not going to be running any of that, which is pretty interesting. So what we're going to be seeing from them, we're just going to have to wait and see, but anything pop out to you so far?
Well, the last ban on the side of KMG Oracle is going to be that Braum, and Virgo immediately picking up the Lucian, as you had mentioned. That is such a strong AD carry pick in this particular metagame. And you said it earlier, the AD carry Lollipop17B from that Virgo side, very skilled to Lucian. Meanwhile, Oracle going to be looking for that Lover's bot lane. The Xayah and the Rakan already picked up. Going to be a, pardon me, very strong 2v2 setup with the Thresh locked in for Virgo, finishing off that bot lane, and Gragas almost certainly going to be going in that jungle, though it could be flexed into the top lane as a tank pick.
So pretty interesting to see the Xayah Rakan. That is an incredible combo. Those two heroes are literally designed to be together in lane. So the Rakan does a really good job of setting up team fights, his ultimate being able to help corral people into one area, and his W, the grand entrance, being a wonderful way to start a team fight with a big AoE knockup. But a pretty well coordinated team and a mobile team can do a good job of staying out of the way, and we are seeing that a little bit with the Lucian, and even the Gragas can help get out of that way a little bit. And we're also seeing the Jarvan come in for Oracle. Jarvan, we have seen Jarvan a lot as a jungler. He being able to jump in on a team, provide a little bit of shields and whatnot for his team, and that Crater being able to lock down one or two people and forcing them to burn dashes if they have them, or even flash to get out of it. And if they have neither of those things, it is pretty much a guaranteed kill.
Something I'd like to make mention of in a somewhat misunderstood mechanic is that Jarvan's ultimate, while a targeted ability, will not do damage if the target of that ultimate is not within the circle. You can flash out of the damage from the Cataclysm and not be hit by that as it goes off. So we're going to see for the next bans, it's going to be Akali and Aurelia for Oracle and Galio Brand for Virgo. Want to get that Brand off the table for a potential mid lane pick there. I think a wise choice. Brand very capable of tearing through those tank lines.
So a good thing to note here is that Nico has not been banned. So will we be seeing her here? We're going to have to find out.
Right, absolutely. And I do think that there are ways that you can very easily deal with a Nico in this metagame. If the Nico is less practiced with the champion, I think there's certainly ways to exploit that. One of the big things is that Nico does not have much in the way of built-in escape mechanics. Does have some clones to maybe try to juke it out, but that's not exactly a true 50-50 there. It looks like Orianna is going to be the hover for Virgo. May get locked in. Very strong control mage in the mid lane. I think that'd be a great choice to complement the Gragas delivery system for the ball.
That's right, and also that Thresh engage with his hook, being able to create openings for his teams. And once he's in there, using his ultimate to slow the team down could be very huge for Orianna, and her ultimate being able to bring everyone on the enemy team together. So that's going to be pretty fun to watch. And also seeing the Urgot's capability in team fights, especially in these more coordinated teams, is incredible because of his ultimate. Once he hits someone and executes them, it will fear all enemies in the immediate area. And in a team fight, if he can land that ultimate, it will absolutely create opportunities for his teams.
I mean, Fear Beyond Death is unquestionably one of the ultimates in the game currently, and we saw a ton of Urgot in the past professional season. We've seen it at the top levels of amateur, and for good reason. It is such a strong pick. Hardly any truly losing matchups in the top lane, and very capable of abusing players who don't quite understand how the champion works.
Right, and we're seeing the Fiora be picked up for the top lane for Virgo, and Azir for the mid lane for Oracle. So one thing that's pretty interesting here is there aren't very many sort of pure tanks. A lot of these tanks are more sort of bruised. Gragas is more of a tank, but since he's in the jungle, he won't really be with his team until later in the game, once we start getting some actual team fights.
Right, for sure. And I think a big thing with Gragas, too, is we've seen a lot of stuff with Gragas as a jungler as far as builds go, what that character can do. And one of the big things that we've seen is Gragas is opting for an early game AP build to really be an aggressive jungler, and then swapping over to more tanky builds once you hit the later game to survive the fights.
Right, and that's part of what we were talking about before. This is really early game. This is really aggressive. All these characters do a lot of damage. So whether or not we're going to be seeing many team fights in the late game, we may not even get to the late game. I wouldn't be surprised to see this game end at around 30 minutes.
I mean, if you're talking about a 30-minute close for these games, that seems pretty par for the course as far as the metagame has gone and as far as what we've seen. So, no huge surprise there. I would actually be surprised if it went much past that 30-minute mark, the way the matches have gone.
So it seems like there's a little bit of confusion in the chat. Yes, both of us are American. You can't really tell from our names.
Last time I checked.
I have lived outside of the country before, but I am in America now, and this is where I was born. So this is going to be a very interesting match. I always like seeing Azir played, his ultimate being able to, that front line of Shuriman soldiers is able to create huge opportunities in a team. You shuffle behind an enemy team and then push that team into yours. And with his team composition, that would be very, very good. The Rakan able to hit people in that close range, the Jarvan locking people down, the Urgot getting people close so that he can lock them. It's incredible. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Right. The one thing I will say about Azir is threshold of execution. It's one thing to say what Azir can do, and another thing entirely to actually do it. Azir, a very mechanically intensive mid lane, and one that has been tuned in terms of power level around that difficulty. You don't get anything done on Azir for free. There is a big burden as far as game knowledge and how to do that, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what kind of play Space Viking can make on this Azir mid lane for the side of Oracle.
This is, like I said, this is going to be just so much fun to watch. These two teams, a little bit of firecrackers, a little bit, what am I trying to go here? Wild cards, so to speak. Like I said, we're probably going to be seeing some really early fights on Baron with Oracle, and you can see that that's a lot of what their composition is. The Azir and the Urgot, they are great space deniers. And the Jarvan as well, if someone does try to come and contest Baron, can just lock him down and kill them. So it's going to be just so much fun to watch.
Right. As far as Baron takes go, I would actually say the team that has the faster Baron right out the gate here is going to be the side of Virgo. Oracle does have the Azir, but Azir is going to need a handful of items, and Xayah is not a very strong Baron taking AD carry. Almost certainly going to be going for that Storm Razor, which does not have a ton of damage per second. If we were seeing, the Lucian going to be going with presumably the Black Cleaver and Blade of the Ruin King, really helps burn the bonus health down on that objective, and Fiora also bringing a lot of damage to these fights with what builds Fiora is known for.
That's right. So it's going to, like I said, this is just going to be a great game overall. So I will agree with you. Virgo definitely does have the faster Baron take. They just have more damage on their team with that Lucian, with the Gragas. His barrel can do a lot of damage to objectives like that. And the Oracle, they may have a little bit better control, but they don't have great damage on those objectives. The biggest damage dealer they have to those things would be Xayah, and Urgot can really deal the damage. Urgot, partially because he can do his little walk around an enemy or an objective and get his shotgun legs going. But beyond that, it's going to be fun to watch. These are two very different playstyles that we're seeing out of them.
Right, and a big thing that I want to see here is Hjorth on this Xayah. Xayah has such a huge ability to deny these backline dives, and Alpha Aloe going to be looking for those on the Gragas. If Hjorth is careful, this Xayah, the Featherstorm can come out, totally deny that, able to get the big snare across multiple members of the team and also book an escape. If Pixel is also on the same page, a grand entrance and ultimate combination from the Rakan could be enough to really clean up a team fight, especially with the AoE damage from Azir and the Jarvan Cataclysm coming from the backup lane. Very, very powerful tools to deny a suboptimal team fight engage from the side of Virgo. Virgo definitely has what I would consider to be the burden of starting fights in this game. If they are ahead, could be a very difficult thing to do.
That's right. Overall, incredibly interesting what's going on here. So we're going to go ahead and jump into our break so the spectator delay can go through properly, and we will be getting back to you guys once the game starts. See you then.
Welcome to the Rift, everyone. We have, as we said, two absolutely dynamite squads taking the first series of this Serenity Winter Gaming season. I am Gaspump, joined by wonderful co-caster Litzy, and we are here to bring you this first game of the best of three series. I'm so excited to see what these teams have, and we are going to be seeing a potential 5-man, 5-stack invade coming through from the side of Oracle here.
So that isn't too surprising. We saw that a lot from them too. And actually on the third game, it did not work in their favor. The enemy team figured out what they were doing every time. So they ended up getting caught out. So maybe if Virgo was watching that, we'll see. But for now, it seems like they're okay.
Ooh, Flash already burned from Alpha Aloe there on the Gragas planet. Real careful. Invade already successful. Just committing that extremely lengthy Rakan W cooldown there for the Gragas Flash. That is a big tool denied for Alpha Aloe on that Gragas pick. So we'll see if there's further capitalization from the side of Oracle or if Virgo's able to get through the early game. But they are looking to steal this red buff. Gragas already onto his blue. Getting some vertical jungling here right off the bat.
So it seems like Virgo decided to not go for the enemy's red buff. That's oftentimes what happens whenever you get invaded. You go for the enemy team's buff on the other side of the map. But it seems like he decided to just go for his blue and play it safe. But since he doesn't have a leash, he is going to be taking quite a bit of damage. But since Gragas does have that heal, he's going to be okay. And now laning phase has started. So it's going to be pretty fun to watch, and Backup Plan will already have that double buff just 2 minutes into the game because you can go directly to his blue buff. So we might be seeing early ganks from him, but maybe not.
One of the things I'll mention here is that a casualty of the difficulties faced in the early game, we see level 2 engage coming through. Power of the Thresh can do the landing of hook onto the Xayah, looking for the damage coming through Pixel. One more attack and finish the deal. That's the heal committed, and that's so many summoners in the bot lane. The flash and the heal for Hjorth and Pixel. They're committed. No summoners in from the side of Virgo. That's a big pickup, but it's down here already looking for a gank with that double buff.
Yep, that bush is not warded, so he is spotted, but it seems like he has decided to back off for now. So this isn't too surprising to see the Xayah and Rakan have a few troubles against a Thresh solution early game.
Going in on to the duo that Xayah already with the Ignite, no heal available, does get the shield from the Rakan. And that's a missed out effect coming through. It's Jarvan here looking for the re-engage as it collapse. A great play to deny that flag and drag. And Beta Better able to escape with his life as well as AD carries. A great mechanical play from the 2v2 of Virgo.
That was pretty great to watch, just timed perfectly. There is a little bit of delay there, so it's not always real easy to land, especially against a skill shot and movement as fast as flag and drag, even though there is a fair amount of lead up to it. The actual movement is pretty quick, so being able to time that just right was very, very good for Beta Runner. A very good showing. It does show that he obviously knows how to play Thresh pretty well, and we all know that seeing a good Thresh.
Ooh, there's a hook coming through. Hjorth gonna get caught again, finding the damage through. That's one kill picked up, looking for the tower, and a second on Pixel, but the Rakan able to escape, and Hjorth just getting caught time after time by those hooks. What a sniper from Beta Benner, able to really pick those up. And I mean, that was Hjorth's third chance there getting hooked, and as usual, third time's the charm, getting that locked in. Kill will be going over to Beta Benner on that Thresh, but still, gold gonna be welcome on that Lucian at this point of the game.
Yep, that was a great play. Beta Benner is doing a great job of predicting his hooks. The Thresh hook is a very difficult thing to land, although its hitbox is somewhat forgiving, not quite as forgiving as it seems. Blitzcrank is sometimes, but it does have a long lead up, and it doesn't move quickly, so seeing him be able to land those 3 hooks, I only saw 3 hooks come out from him, and every single one landed, so that is incredible coming from him.
Right, and a big part of that is, I mean, if you're not capable of dodging the Thresh hooks, you are going to have a very difficult time. Gragas is coming through a gank in the mid lane. Great Shreema shuffle in there from Space Viking to escape from that potential gank in there by Virgo. Oracle mid laner doing a pretty good job so far into the Orianna. Backup plan, of course, looking for something around the mid lane. Not going to be able to find it. Both mid laners playing very carefully. Do have the tools there, as well as the defensive summoners still available. Also, both rocking that flash barrier as the choice for summoners.
So these teams are pretty much dead even. The CS, there is no real CS difference between any of them. Although, Blue does have the, Virgo has a lot more gold. Already just almost 1k gold ahead. So that little bit of that early blood, for one, that first blood gave them a lot of gold right at the beginning. And that is going to help them a lot. Now, if they can continue to assert this dominance that they have started, they're going to have to keep up this while Oracle is going to try to have their bot lane.
Looking for the play there. Pops the Ignite onto Keezer's not going to be able to find the kill there. Mistimes the flip, not going to be able to land that, so that's a summoner burned. Outcast Ronin will use his spellbook to swap the Ignite for a teleport, come back to lane whenever he's feeling that, with quite a bit of money from creep gold in his pockets.
And that's my bad. I was looking over at bot lane, but nothing much was happening there. But like I said, Oracle, they're going to be looking to get their bot lane to the point where they can start really taking some fights. Right now, they can't do a whole lot. Xayah just doesn't do enough damage early game before she gets that stat items to really help her out. So we're going to be having to see that they're going to have to play more defensively.
And when you're falling behind early game against a Lucian, that can spell trouble for you. Lucian opting for that Vampiric Scepter, not the most aggressive item you could possibly go, but I mean, that does build into the Cutlass, and of course, going to be seeing that Blade of the Ruined King for the Lucian. The extra AD is certainly nice, but it's more so for the lifesteal, and especially when you're in a 2v2 where your support does not have any healing, that lifesteal can be a very effective tool to keep yourself topped up in lane and continue to be a threat.
And with the plating, like we were talking about before, plating really promotes sustain laners, people who can just stay in their lane, maybe just poke their enemy out so they have to back, and then they can go and take 1 or 2 plates for that extra gold, is a very good strategy. We did see a little bit of a tussle in the jungle right near Alpha Aloe's red buff, but nothing came out of it. The Jarvan backup plan, he ended up getting sighted out pretty early by a ward, but he was able to get out pretty easily.
And it's just both these teams kind of feeling each other out. This is something that I've seen a lot in first matches in best of 3 scenarios, both teams playing very conservatively. Once, you know, you get an initial exchange of blows, and we see the bot lane, which does have that kill lead for Virgo. Really just kind of playing passively now, looking to get some items there, and Lucian is ahead of that Xayah. And it's going to be a situation where, as long as they're able to kind of continue this, things should be good. That's going to be the hook landing. Jarvan looking to go in there, does have the Cataclysm, but not going to find the engaged target onto the Thresh. Still maybe a little gun shy from that fillet, dropping over his Flag and Drag earlier on the gank attempt.
So I'm thinking that we may be seeing a drag take before long. Backup plan, he seems to be wanting to set that up. He's pulling the drag out into the river just in case the enemy team wants to try and blast over with the cone on their side of the wall. So they're going to be taking this so far with no real contest. Beta Benner rather, he threw the lance to maybe try to get a little bit of idea of what was going on, but nothing to come of it. And that is a Cloud Drake for Oracle. We were talking about how objective play is one of their big things. I'm not surprised to see them want to take a drag very early on into the game, and that Cloud Drake is going to give them that extra little bit of roaming potential. And now looks like we're going to be seeing a little bit of a fight up in the top lane.
Here comes the play. That's going to be the Predator from the Gragas, forcing the flash out of Outcast. Going to get some good damage in there, trading back onto the Gragas, but Alpha Aloe does have the move speed getting out of that one. So one of the big things that I like to talk about here is that Cloud Drake really not what I would consider a top-level priority in terms of objectives. Yes, it's nice to get off the board and see what's coming up next, which is going to be an Infernal Drake for the second dragon of the game here, just a few more minutes. But the move speed isn't bad necessarily, but it's one of those things where I can totally understand the decision from Virgo to not contest there. I think Oracle wisely taking some time while they had a bit of map pressure advantage to go grab that objective, get themselves some free extra movement speed. Call it a day there.
That's right. Really, with this meta, what you want to see in the drag game is you want to see those Infernals and you want to see the Mountain Drakes. Especially with Oracle, they love to have Mountain Drakes because it'll let them take Baron more quickly if they can manage to pick up 2 of them. That's an extra, 20% damage onto the Baron. That is a lot, especially for a team like Oracle. And the towers. And so we haven't seen the Mountain Drake up, so we're not going to be seeing the Mountain Drake before plating falls. If a Mountain Drake is the first dragon to come, you want to take that fast so you can get that extra damage on the platings and get the extra gold.
Right, and I mean, the tower plating such a significant amount of gold, and really none of them have fallen yet at the 12-minute mark of the game. Neither team really pushing for those, and I think that's kind of a mistake with the game state that we're seeing here. I think that maybe looking for a lane and then trying to get some work done with that could be a very viable option. Outcast is pressuring here in the top lane. He's just fairly low on that Fiora. That's the one.
And it looks like he was thinking about backing, but he's decided to stay and try to find another tower just to try and keep Outcast Ronin from taking the plating, but he's going to get it just from the passive minion damage.
Pop that Urgot ult. What a great parry there coming through to stop that Urgot ult chain. And one of the things that Fiora are very good at, denying the potential for Urgot to really run away in a 1v1 with the ability to get that execute in there and grind him up.
Urgot can do a lot of damage against a single champion, and that makes him pretty difficult to lane against sometimes. You have to constantly be worried about his Q skill shot, and one wrong move could end up with you taking a lot of damage, and he's not going to he's just going to take the tower damage and get that plating. That tower is incredibly low just from one back from Keezers.
And that's the trouble of getting shoved in by the Urgot. Fiora doesn't have bad wave clear, but until she gets that Ravenous Hydra, she's not able to mulch those creeps effectively. Here comes Jarvan to be looking for a gank. They're clearing out that vision. Azir was also down here, not going to be finding anything for their troubles except for a couple of wards. Getting some of that vision cleared out with Drake coming up in just another minute and 15 seconds. Going to be a high priority objective for both of these teams.
Right, so the Infernal Drake, when it comes up, that is going to be huge. I'm not going to be surprised to see them jump on top of that as soon as response.
Beta Benner already caught out, going to be dropped down there. Looking for more is the Xayah getting those autos down onto Lollipop. It's going to be the Culling Pop getting a lot of damage there. Pixel dropping so very, very low. If that zoom comes up, that's going to be finding the damage. Just going to heal. Forced out there. Teleport committed. Here's Azir coming through, forcing the flash out of the Grog. Azir wants in. Will not be able to find another, but that's a teleport committed. Orianna is down here, and that's going to be Fiora pressuring the top tower. They want this bottom lane. Argus Cast can be culling some of that wave out. I don't think they have the push pressure to take any major objectives. So Fiora's going to get some quality one-on-one time with that top tower, and it may end up with them getting a positive objective trade on the side of Virgo.
Well, there goes the tower plating. So she's not going to quite match the platings that Urgot managed to get. He managed to take out 3, Fiora managed to take out 2. But that isn't a huge difference at 160 gold, although that can be pretty big. If we look at the CS, she is very slightly ahead in CS. So that's kind of how it is with top lane sometimes. As soon as you go and try to help your team, you end up losing your lane slightly. But that's just how the game plays. Sometimes you have to take that sacrifice. So we're seeing the Scuttle Crab be taken out by Oracle right near this drag. But, oh, never mind. Pixel popping the sweeping lens. So he's going to be seeing that ward now. Virgo has no vision on the drag, so they're pretty sure that they're not taking it, and they're right.
Yeah, Outcast's going to be able to grab that top lane tower for the trouble as well. First brick going the way of Oracle. A very good play by the Urgot. And really, Outcast Ronin is doing a great job pressuring Keezers in this wall. Having some problems here. But once that 2-item comes online for the Fiora, maybe a different story as we get later and later into this game.
That's right. I'm pretty surprised that we haven't seen the Rift Herald get taken out yet. I thought that would probably be a little bit more of a priority.
We're looking for Hjorth.
Really
That's a big slow coming through. No feathers. Feathers will be able to come down. There's the fly. That's going to be the snare coming through, but Thresh able to lock up the kill. It's Urgot down here. Beta Benner could be in trouble. Will manage to dodge into the slow, but here's Jarvan looking for the Cataclysm. Teleport coming through. That's the box committed. That's going to be the Jarvan caught off the side. Will go down, but a great pop up from the Rakan coming through. They want the Azir blasted back by the cast. There's the wall coming through. Space Viking able to escape, but still a 2-for-1 positive trade in favor of Virgo.
Right, overall, that's going to bring the gold right to even with them. Just a little while ago, Oracle was ahead, and now they're going to be taking the drag. Although they haven't actually spotted out the ward from Oracle there, so they do have the vision, but Virgo's going to be getting it.
Yep, great job from the side of Virgo to secure that despite the pressure in. Xayah coming back along with the rest of that team, the respawns, and they should be able to make their way on out, no problem whatsoever, and really, Virgo having a great play there, getting everything they want in that fight, and Beta Benner able to live for so long, despite seemingly being caught out at the start of that. So, great stuff overall from the squad of Virgo.
We're seeing a lot of really good plays from Beta Benner here. He's really doing a good job of setting up his ADC, and when he's in fights, being able to get out alive when you wouldn't really expect him to, although he did get caught out once, but there's only so much you can do in situations like that. So we're coming up on 17 minutes here. Finally, that control ward is being taken out by the backup plan. That ward has been sitting there for a while, and he's taking out all this vision around the Herald. I wouldn't be surprised if that is what he wants to go for, but with Alpha Aloe and Kers there watching it, we might be seeing a fight there. We'll just have to see.
For sure. Something I'd like to mention here is we do see that first item completion coming through for Lollipop. You're going to have that Blade of the Ruin King. Very good for taking those neutral objectives. Seeing that come online there. Hook going to be landing onto the Rakan. Do they make the engage? They do. Oh, it's going to taxi him through. They do have the damage. It's going to be an ult coming up from the Xayah in just a second. Won't be live quite yet. Will go down. That's a great energy coming through from the Rakan. Finding the damage. The Ignite taking down. Beta Benner goes low. Will finally fall, but there's a fight at this Rift Herald. Damages through. That's the Rift Herald secured. Will be going down. And it's fights across the map. Both teams coming out. But on Oracle ahead of the play with those kills.
While you were watching that fight in the bot lane, I was watching the one at Herald. That's what we were talking about, the objective control. Even though they don't have quite as much damage as Virgo, they have really good spatial control. They can just make sure that their team has the space to work around an objective, and that is going to mean that chances are this mid tower is going to fall without too much. The question is, are they going to be able to get a charge off on the mid tower? Looks like they're just going to let the Herald do its thing. It will be able to get the charge off.
That was an interaction, alright. Beta Ben are going to be taxiing off that Herald. Mid inhibitor does take some punishment there. The thing that surprised me about that fight, and I think the big issue that we ran into, if you look at what ultimates were expended in that last battle, In Your Face didn't use the Shockwave. Sears didn't use the Grand Challenge. And that's not what you want to see, especially in a very controlled space against an Azir, against a Jarvan.
Yeah, Jarvan is a pretty difficult jungler to play against, and really what you have to do is you have to bait out his jump, and once he does get in, that Cataclysm can put him out of position a little bit if he uses it at the wrong time. But it looks like we're seeing a little bit of fighting down at the bottom river, but nothing too much is going to come of it. Also, good thing to note is that the next drag will be another Infernal. If Oracle loses this drag, that's going to be really rough for them.
I wouldn't say it's a game-ending catastrophe if they lose it, but it's going to make things more and more difficult, especially with an Azir, who is so good with that bonus ability power, landing on all of those soldier attacks. And as it stands right now, losing 2 middle towers in a single push is really rough for Virgo. Oracle certainly does have the tempo right now and certainly has an advantage, but we'll see what they can do with it. There's certainly a chance. Ooh, Beta Bender, they're going to be looking for him. Going to be forced to flash out a Great Flay coming through. Charm will not end up landing. They're able to escape there, and quite a lot of tools pop from the side of Oracle. They're trying for that engage.
So this is kind of almost like the Oracle special here. You saw as soon as 20 minutes go, they go up, they get vision on Baron, and they just stick around it. Enemy team comes to fight them, and they then engage on top of the enemy team and get a pick out of it, or just try to win that fight. But now it looks like they're going to be focusing on this drag. They really want to make sure they get this Infernal Drake.
Right, Dragon spawning in just a couple of seconds. All members are there. Both support ultimates have been used. They're looking to control the space here. It's going to be real tough with the Azir being 3-0 right now. So strong. Playing
and it looks like it's going to be a 5-5.
Oh, yeah. One of the things I like to mention, Gragas, very, very squishy. Jarvan already building up some of those tanks along with the Warrior. You're going to be able to get the Crab easily.
That barrel, they tried to take out the crab fast enough, but the barrel ended up being the cinching point there. They're just trying to kind of scope out each other, trying to get the vision advantage, trying to get just something to engage a fight on them. And that little bit of extra movement speed from the Bloom may be enough for them to get what they need out of this. We'll just have to see.
Ooh. So they are going to be moving towards the Baron. Rakan going over the wall. Man.
It looks like they're just deciding, like, you know what? Okay, you could take the drag. That's fine. We're going to take Baron and push you in. You're going to have to decide, do you want us to take Baron, or are you going to get dragged?
Real fast. All right, they're moving up as a group. Gragas is too far behind. They're popping the smite early. Oh, they're burning through this so fast. There's no contest coming through.
That's what it is. The Oracle special. Yeah. That's just what it is. Like we were saying, 22 minutes. I said that it was going to be before 25. There it is.
That was... I hate to say this, but that was a pretty significant misplay from the side of Virgo there. They had plenty of time to move up to the Baron, but they just did not have the ward coverage. Well, they actually did. They didn't expect. Around.
They had some wards, but the control wards if we look at the vision specifically, they could see them there, but they weren't expecting that. When they saw the team back up, they figured that everyone was just going to go back to their lanes and then try and farm up and, okay, you can have the drag. But that's just what Oracle does. They take the Baron so early that no one really expects it. And without a whole lot of contest right at the beginning of the game. And now with that Baron buff, the split push, you're going to have to deal with this Urgot, which is going to create a little bit of a deficit over here. Orianna and Gragas, they're trying to back, but can they really afford to with Baron minions now under the bottom tower? It's really difficult to play against a team like this that has a Baron buff.
Well, not only a Baron buff that was traded, essentially given away for free. Like, yes, you got the Infernal Dragon out of it, but it was one of those things where the response was so slow from Virgo that it ended up really enabling Oracle to do whatever they wanted across the map at the same time as doing the Baron.
Right, and so that is going to be the bottom tower destroyed. We may be seeing maybe change to go top or something along those lines, but for now it looks like they're just going to be pushing in the bot tower. They're just really protecting that one cannon minion, making sure it can keep on flinking out damage. They finally managed to kill that Virgo, landing the hook on it. It's funny to see a Thresh hook specifically go after a minion, but that's what we saw there.
Man, and things are looking real rough here for the side of Virgo. Already losing one inhibitor tower, looking at a second one. And
you have to deal with this Urgot.
Oh, yeah.
But they can't dedicate the resources. He was able to just push out Kayers, just poke him down so that you couldn't really catch one good combo from Urgot could have been the doom of Kayers there. So they're just going to keep on doing this slow push. This, you have to deal with us somehow. You're going to have to dedicate resources where you can't.
All right, they're finding. The Gragas delivering system finds so much damage, but they're still getting a kill. There's the first one coming through. Lucian, one more auto attack from Killing Space Viking. Can't quite get him down, but there's the box from the Thresh, able to secure that. But Urgot coming through, looking for the fight. Will be looking to clean things up, and Keezer goes down, unable to get another kill. That's a triple kill for the Xayah, and it's a 3 versus 1 with super creeps on the Nexus.
That was a pretty beautiful riposte there from Kayers. Even though he ended up dying, he did deflect the Urgot ult. That's at least something as a top laner, I gotta say. You gotta deny that whenever you can. But wasn't enough, and now the first Nexus tower is going down, and here's the second. Will they be able to defend it in time? Their champions are coming up.
Kjorth goes down. That's a shutdown for Inyo phase 2. They're looking for the Urgot. They're finding the damage. Quite a lot of punishment onto this Orianna, but not going to be able to find the kill here. Outcast going down to defend the Nexus, but things still looking real grim for this Virgo squad.
Yeah, that tower down there only has 350 health. It is regaining a little bit, but it won't go up very far. So one really good team fight win from Oracle could win this entire game.
Easily. It doesn't even have to be a good team fight win. It just has to be a team fight win. Take care of this one.
That's right. Just having the Urgot alive to take out the tower and Nexus, that is all it would take. So Virgo has to be careful here. They have to find a good pick. Make it a 4v5, then take a team fight, something along those lines if they want to be able to pull this game around. But it's going to be pretty difficult since Oracle now does have a 5k gold lead. And they're grouping up around the Baron again. It's going to be coming up in a minute.
Oh, absolutely. 15 seconds. Going to be a second Windrake.
Like I said, at this point, that I don't think that's really what Oracle wants here. They would get a little bit of extra movement speed out of combat, but right now what they're looking for is big team fights. And that's why they're establishing this front line around the Baron. Now Virgo knows. Now Virgo knows that that's something that Outcast will take if they let their guard down for a second. So if they get a pick, if they end up losing one champion, then that could mean the Baron for Oracle.
Right, they're setting up a death pressure. They don't have the vision. They're clearing out courtesy of... Oh, they're looking for it. There's an engage coming through. They find the Thresh. Damage is through. That's the deletion of the Beta Banner, but that's so much punishment from Lucian raining in out of the front line. But the member's already falling. There's no hope for the Orianna. It's just the Lucian and Keezers who's locked in the bot lane. Double kill coming through for Yorth, and they're able to clean up that team fight victory, and surely the game to follow.
Right, I'm thinking this is going to be GG. The Nexus is now taking damage. Kayers, he's going to be falling. That is going to be GG. They ended up not taking the Baron right at the end. Instead, they baited out. They knew that Virgo knew that they wanted to take Baron. It was a lot of psychological play there, and it ended up paying off for Oracle.
Right, for sure. And a lot of this comes down to map movements and objective play. Oracle just, I felt, had a rotational lock on the game as soon as that Baron came up, and it really what cost the match for Virgo was their slow response to that initial Baron, and just a very good opportunity seized from the side of Oracle.
So that was... I love watching Oracle. I've now watched 4 games of them. They're already one of my favorite teams to watch. The team play that comes out of them is just so good. And I want to see it in the next game, but what does Virgo have to do if they want to take this? If they want to take the next game and do the reverse sweep? Oracle only has to win one more game. From what I saw, Virgo, they're going to have to watch Baron. Number one, Oracle will take Baron if you leave it without vision for a second.
I think that you need to take this a step back, because the Baron wasn't a consequence of it being left alone. It was a consequence of Virgo not matching Oracle's rotations across the map. There was like a 10 or 15 second period when Oracle just hauled straight to the Baron, where Virgo just kind of sat on their thumbs. They didn't take the dragon immediately. They didn't try following them. They cut a very wide path around the jungle and kind of lollygagged for a while, and it ended up costing them the Baron, and ultimately from that played the game.
And that's what it was. You don't expect a Baron to be gone after right at 20 minutes. And I think that that's what cost them there, is you have to consider that their team was one built around taking Baron. That was the entire point of their composition, was a lot of damage on the Baron and a lot of time, a lot of spatial control. You have the Urgot using his pull to kill people. You have the Rakan being able to knock people up at a moment's notice,
Right.
and being able to maneuver around his team using his E. That is what their team was built around, and Virgo did able to really recognize that straight off of the bat, and that's how they lost that Baron right at the beginning. So yeah, Virgo is going to have to just be more aware of what Oracle is doing and not being afraid to take calls and make plays. Right? As soon as one person makes a call, you just have you have to go with it if it's the correct call, and you have to do it as a team.
I would also like to mention what immediately preceded that lost Baron was the fight around the Rift Herald, where it was kind of an ill-advised attempt to collapse onto the Rift Herald take from Oracle, and it ended up costing 3 kills and the Rift Herald and 2 mid lane towers in a single push, and that really turned the momentum of the game around, and it allowed Oracle to get that control around the Baron and to really run away with their lead.
So what I was looking at the chat here, and what I did see, and I am going to have to agree with, Urgot MVP.
If we're talking about the individual skill difference between two given players in the game, absolutely hard agreement. I thought that the entire game, Outcast Ronin had Keezers just under his thumb, and really nothing that the Fiora could do in that 1v1 against the Urgot, and never really had an opportunity to start doing stuff as Fiora. And I think that Fiora in this current metagame is a... He's kind of a... the playstyle that Fiora does is a trap currently in the metagame, because games are ending before 30 minutes, and you don't get a chance to scale into that 5-item Fiora monster right now. It's just so difficult with the snowball mechanics that you see in place here, and man, I feel like any team that's really looking at position is going to end up shooting themselves in the foot with the way the game is played right now.
Pretty much. So, yeah, the Fiora, I love Fiora. Fiora is such a fun champion to play, and against Urgot late game isn't a bad idea. Yeah. Being able to maneuver around in the parry, being able to stop his ultimate, not a bad choice. But that's not how Oracle plays, and that's not how League of Legends plays right now. This is very, very good. Like you said, usually is right around 30 minutes, the games. So you don't see a lot of those long, drawn out, and by the time Fiora becomes a monster at 45 minutes, she can get farm a lot more quickly than once she has the upgraded Tiamat and everything, the Ravenous Hydra, and she's able to then get more farm, and she can catch up in any CS that she lost from not having a real good wave clear before, and then can take games. But she wasn't ever able to get to that point. And so I'm going to be watching to see what they do in that. I wouldn't be surprised to see a different top lane come out of there, And Oracle may be expecting that and not run the Urgot. Virgo may ban the Urgot. I think that was definitely one of the strongest things on the side of Oracle, was the presence that Urgot has. So there's going to have to be something to answer it, whether it's a ban or a better counter pick. We'll have to see.
Right, we're going to be getting into the draft for Game 2 here very, very shortly. So I'm excited to see what kind of adaptations both of these teams are going to make. And if I had to put my finger on one, I'm going to consult my crystal ball and say, Virgo's going to ban Urgot.
Yeah, they better. They're going to have to do something. Like I said, maybe something like a Jax can do okay against an Urgot in some situations, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see maybe that come out or something of those lines. Right now, looks like we're going to be seeing the Irelia and Kai'Sa possibly be banned. Oh, no, never mind. They've decided to go with the Ezreal ban.
I think Ezreal's a pretty solid ban. He is, as always, an incredibly safe AD carry, that Arcane Shift. More than adequate to get Ezreal out of a number of dangerous situations, and don't get me started on the power of the Arcane Shift into Flash. All the distance in the world, it's yours as Ezreal.
Right, well, he is the Traveler, and so it does make sense that he can go such a long distance. And the Irelia Vanguard's Edge is incredibly powerful. Yeah. And so, now the Yasuo is going to get taken out as well.
Yasuo is... I don't know if there's a one trick on the side of Virgo for Yasuo, but...
As I recall, looking at the... from what I remember seeing on the OP.GG, I do remember seeing Yasuo there. I don't think he was a one trick, but he was one of the preferred picks for Virgo.
I feel like Yasuo is one of those champions that is so easy to shut down in a 5 versus 5 constructed environment. All you have to do is camp him out, and he becomes totally worthless. Just a free kill later on into the game if he doesn't have his items. And I mean, like, yeah, there's always that tiny, oh, well, you can come back thing, but man, there are just ways around the powers that Yasuo has in a 5 versus 5 team-based setup, but Rakan going to be the last ban coming through, as well as Xinjiao for the side of Virgo, and we're on to the pick phase. Oracle going to be grabbing the Lucian this time. Very strong early game AD carry, as we saw in the last match.
So they're sort of flipping the script here, with the Kai'Sa being picked up by Virgo with the Alistar. That's more of a late game composition. Kai'Sa, she's one of those sort of late game hyper carries, mid to late. But Lucian is real early game. So we're seeing flipping of the script here, and the Xinjiao getting banned by Virgo, that is an incredibly early game jungler. So it's interesting to see that Virgo now is the one trying to stretch this game out. It seems from the pick so far that they are wanting to get this game to last longer, which is a pretty risky play there.
I mean, Kai'Sa once Kai'Sa gets a Rage Blade into the build, that's when that's start taking off. But Lucian and Braum is an early game powerhouse, able to proc those stuns off the Braum passive very, very easily, and just an incredible amount of power at around level 3, level 4, and Pantheon going to be the lock-in for Oracle. Oh, baby, that's a Panth pick.
Now that's you hate to see it. That's something I haven't seen so far in this league.
You just hate to see Pantheon. What is wrong?
As a top laner, you hate to see Pantheon on the enemy team. That is such a powerful lane bully there. His passive being the Shield of the Aegis, making sure that he doesn't take auto attacks. His spear constantly being able to poke the enemy laner. And his stun combo is incredible. He is a great champion. And once again, area control. His ultimate is able to seal off an area, essentially, for an enemy team. You have to get out of that circle, or you are about to take some pretty serious damage, and then you're going to get stunned. And then you're going to get hit by a bunch of spears. And then you're going to get hit by another spear.
I'm actually, pretty sure that's a Pantheon jungle.
It could
because I think it's more than likely. I mean, Pantheon has a lot of gank power. The Aegis stun that you get is a super good ganking tool, and as people in the chat have mentioned, Pantheon is like Pantheon's matchup into Urgot is like 8-2 in favor of Urgot. Like, he actually just gets a run over. We'll see. I think that Pantheon's jungle is a very powerful snowball tool. We'll see what the choices are from the rest of the team. Maybe he's feeling confident after the way that 1v1 top played out. There is also a world in which Pantheon goes mid lane and plays like an assassin.
I mean, that's what it is. That's his being able to lock down a squishy character and pretty much wipe them out by himself. And if he doesn't wipe them out by himself, get them low enough so that anyone on his team can go and get the rest of it. So
that's an Amumu.
Against an Urgot, that's not so great. And we're seeing the Amumu, whether or not it's a nuclear Amumu or tank Amumu, we'll just have to see. And the Aatrox getting picked up for Oracle, and the Galio. Oh, this is going to be a fun game to watch.
Okay, so. Oh, man. So here's what I'm thinking, is that you've got Pantheon, Aatrox, and Galio, which... it's like musical chairs for lane assignments here. I think that it's likely that we see an Aatrox top lane into the Urgot, and then Pantheon jungle with Galio mid.
Yeah, I think that is what we're going to be seeing here. Galio against Orianna, not a bad matchup, especially with that extra magic shield that Galio has, being able to offset some of the damage from the ball that you would normally receive in lane. Overall, good matchup. I thought it was pretty interesting to see the Poppy ban. That's over a little bit. She isn't incredibly powerful, but the thing is that Oracle has a fairly heavy dash team. Everyone on their team has something that could be blocked by a Poppy W, the Iron Presence. So it's pretty funny to see that get taken out. It's not something you normally see get banned away.
I think Poppy is kind of sleeper right now, especially if you're looking for a beefier character in the jungle. And even if she's not incredibly powerful, she is incredibly obnoxious. And that steadfast presence able
Poppy
to deny...
always survives.
Oh, yeah,
she always gets away.
She is Singed her dad or something? I don't understand. So the thing is that steadfast presence denies so many dash tools. And if Poppy is able to get ahead, she just sits on whoever has the most dashes on your team. She just sits on one of your carries. And they can't do anything. You just get to sit there being like, man, it'd be really nice if I were actually able to use half my abilities in this fight. And then you don't get to, because it's Poppy's steadfast presence.
So, absolutely agree. And the team fight potential that she has with her ultimate being able to either say, you know what, entire enemy team, we don't want to do this anymore. You go back to your Nexus. We're going to run away. Or even just picking out one or two people and instantly turning a fight into her team's favor. Very, very powerful. But let's look at more of what is being played.
Yes.
Galio and Pantheon ult combo.
We've got Team Concentric Circles on Oracle versus... I really don't know how to describe Virgo's composition.
It's dash engage, essentially.
You've got, Alistair, Urgot, and Orianna, who I think are, current metagame staples. But then you got the wacky, wavy, arm-flowing, inflatable tube-man Amumu pick. And a late-game scaling AD carry. So, I'm curious to see kind of how Virgo is going to look to tackle the early game here. Because if you're looking at early game, Oracle has a filthy composition. From about level 4 to about level 11, they are really in position to take over the game.
And if we look at Virgo, the Amumu Orianna ult combo, Amumu rooting everyone in an area, then Orianna being able to pull them all into one spot, then Alistar being able to go in and knock everyone up.
It's a wombo.
If that gets landed, that is going to be rough for Oracle. They're going to have an eagle eye out for that. So once again, it's going to be so much fun to watch. So if Oracle can properly not get destroyed by Amumu, not get hit by that bandage, then then they can win this. This is absolutely something that can be won by either team. Both of these are incredible compositions.
One thing that I think is a concern is that Pantheon is not what I would consider a top-tier jungler. However, Pantheon is very, very good at picking on junglers who are less powerful duelists than he is. And Amumu is a less powerful duelist than Pantheon. And if Alpha Aloe gets caught out in the early game by some invades, especially if they're well coordinated from the side of Oracle, you can just absolutely remove that mummy from the game.
That's right. Amumu is 100% team fight. There is very little that Amumu does by himself. He can use his advantage to get away in some situations, and if he really gets jumped on top of, he can use his ult to get away. But it's going to be pretty rough if he gets jumped on top of by a roaming Pantheon, an Aatrox, or they get he gets seen by one of them, and then he gets Galio ulted from 1/4 of the way across the map.
And one of the things I'd really like to watch out for is, throughout the early game jungle pathing, if they find a Mumu in the top side of the map, watch out for Outcast running into the backup plan, screaming into his jungle, and then, like, stealing his lunch money and giving him a swirly. Because that is what Aatrox and Pantheon can do in a 2v2. There is so much CC and so much damage that a Mumu is just going to get completely obliterated if they find him.
That's right. The Devastating Blades from Aatrox will be a guaranteed hit if Pantheon stuns someone. And the Pantheon stun is a point and click. You cannot avoid it. Even if you flash away, you're going to get stunned if you just get clicked. So, absolute skill coming out of there from Pantheon.
Maximum mechanical burden from the Pantheon.
Inhuman reactions! So that... Oh man, this is just overall...
7,000 APM Pantheon plays.
So we're seeing Van come in. He's putting 100 Ugandan dollars on his boys in Oracle. So I don't know what the exchange rate is there. For all I know, that could be like $1 American.
Does Uganda even use dollars?
They do not know. I'm just 90% sure they don't, but. And, oh boy, and now we're seeing some Chungus in the chat.
No, please, get it away.
On that note, we're going to go to the spectator delay break. We're going to get back to you guys once the game starts.
Welcome to the world, no heroes and villains. Welcome to the war, we've only begun. So pick up your weapon and face it. There's blood on the ground, go and take it. You get one shot to make it out alive. So higher and higher you chase it. It's deep in your bones, go and take it. This is your moment. Now is your time, so prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Rise, push through heaven. Rise, rise. They will remember you. Rise. Welcome to the climb up, reach for the summit. Visions brave and one false step lead the end. So higher and higher you chase it. It's deep in your blood, go and take it. This is your moment. Take to the skies, go prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Push through heaven. They will remember you. It is you fight among the the dust beneath the dirt. Or do you know yet? Or do you want it? And when the giants call to ask you what you're worth, or do you know yet? We don't die. Prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Push through heaven. Rise, rise. They will remember you. Prove yourself and rise, rise. Pick up your weapon and face it. Tell me where do I go? Tell me where do I take us? Your heart is starting to slow. May the water be safe. As I dive in, blood stains washing underneath the waves. I'll be reaching out to keep you safe. As we fall, I can't hold on much longer. We're drifting down to the other side. Try to pull us under. Keep holding out for the other side.
So we are in, and we have worked it out. Uganda uses shillings, apparently, but if we do 100 Zimbabwean dollars, it comes out to about 30 cents in US. So Van,
Okay.
he seems to be taking a pretty safe bet here for now. And we're getting the Oracle 5-man invade. That's what Oracle does.
This is a very strong 5-man invade squad. Amumu is going to be able to spot this out, though. Does see them coming. The bush, they may be looking
It
for
would
the
have been pretty bad
collabs.
if he didn't see it coming. It could have been an absolute disaster, but
They'll never
seems to be
see
safe
it
for now.
coming. Yeah, anyway. So, they're just kind of chilling out in the bush there.
I mean,
Having a bit of a party.
Virgo knows they're there, so I imagine nothing too much is going to come out of it unless they all like burn flash or something on top of Lollipop. I don't think that's going to happen. So seems like, yeah, they're just going to back off, go to their red, easy peasy.
Weak. Weak! You should have tried to contest that. Come on, get that level 1 5v5.
They should have
Get
just all
slapped
rotated
by-
over to red. They should have just gone to red buff, the whole team. Maybe red buff would have been great, but
Alistair flash pulverize and just annihilate him.
would have been something to see, but we're not going to be seeing it for now. Instead, everyone's
Tragic.
going to be getting to their lanes on time. Our Outcast run, he's a little bit behind, but nothing to consequence. He's now in a lane, getting those devastating blades for his CS. And for now, pretty simple. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on what we were talking about before. This is really going to be a fight once teams start getting their ability. It's going to be really, really interesting. For now, backup plan is going to be taking the Scuttle Crab very, very early on. We'll see if he tries to invade jungle. It seems like Alpha Aloe is headed in that direction. Depending on who sees the other first, it could be something.
Alpha Aloe is there. Pantheon is going to be using the smite, maybe looking for the collapse onto this Mumu. Level 2 versus level 2, finding the damage, but Pantheon has opted not. He's got his Q and his W having the spear shot, and the Aegis does not have that guaranteed crit on the low health target, so he's gonna kind of back off, let Mumu take his jungle.
That's right. And also, whether or not he'd be able to get his Electrocute proc off as well as he'd want to would be a little bit questionable. We'd have to see it. But he's going to go ahead and take the second Skull Crab. He knows he can't be contested by Alpha Aloe here. So he's just going to get that vision straight away. Then he's going to go and clear his jungle. Right now, the only jungle monster he has gotten in his jungle is his red buff. And then he just instantly went to both Scuttle Crabs. Then he's going to go get his blue and his Gromp and whatnot.
Right. Now, not having the red buff significantly weakens Pantheon's gank presence, but at the same time, preventing a Mumu from getting any kind of neutral objectives here in the early game could be a smart call there. Also, he's actually just ran into the Mumu's jungle and is trying to pressure him off this red buff. Does not have the ward to put down there. He's going to be looking to make this Mumu miserable, but his teams do not have lane priority. He needs to be real careful here. If there's a collapse that comes through, he is going to be a victim. Ooh, Orianna looking for this. Will be coming through. Does get that stun. Only level 2, though. Galio coming up. Does have that taunt. Gonna find 2 there, but the Pantheon dropping lower and lower. One more spear shot to seal the deal. Can't quite find it. That's gonna be first blood going down. Galio still a few seconds off from having those abilities. Space Viking forced off. And, wow, they're still continuing the play. Space Viking does not have that flash, and that was a big misplay from the Pantheon. Backup plan needed to have level 3 there, and if he does, they probably win that fight.
If anything, I say he needed a better backup plan. You cannot just be the backup plan.
You can just stop right there. We don't need to go any further than that. Get some help. Get some help.
He needed a way to get out of there in case it did go bad. And it could have been that Space Viking maybe didn't recognize that In Your Face was going to go and contest that in time. Maybe he didn't communicate that in time, and because of that, backup plan ended up getting caught out.
Well, the big thing is that you have a mini-map. You can see that neither of your lanes are shoving all the way in. Gotta back off the fight. The big thing, too, is that Pantheon does not have the ability to handle that invade at level 2. You gotta have level 3, which unlocks the Heartseeker Strike, which is a very significant amount of damage, like 100 and change AoE damage with just 1 point into it, as well as the guaranteed crits on your auto attacks and spear shots on targets below 15% health, which is such a huge boon in these early game fights. And Amumu would have died if he had that. You kill a Mumu, and then you have the ability to also blow up the Orianna, which, I mean, Galio just vomited his combo up on her, and she was dropped to within 100 health of dying. And if you have the Pantheon there, that's a guaranteed fight win. So
if he had that passive from his E and was able to just land one good spear, probably would have been the end. But now it seems like he's going to be going into the bot lane.
For a fight down bottom, there's the flash coming through here. Stun. Going to be landing. Will not be able to land that. And it's a lot committed there from the bot lane. And they're not going to be able to pick anything up except for the flash from the Kai'Sa, which is pretty good. The grab, we'll see how it goes.
And they are going to get even better lane priority here. They're just being able to shove off Virgo's bot lane off any farm. Just standing in the way, that big burly man. And it seems like we may be seeing a little bit here in the river.
Through there, looking for the Amumu, finding the damage there. It's going to be that passive coming down, forcing the flash out. We'll be looking for the Galio, and Amumu manages to escape there. A great job using the blast cone to get on out. And
that was overall a good fight for Oracle, and they are able to secure this Ocean Drake now. They're not going to have a whole lot of competition. What can Alpha Aloe do? He's so low. If anything, if he does try to contest it, he's just going to get absolutely destroyed if he isn't careful. But looks like he is being careful. He's going to go ahead and back.
So, Ocean Dragon, not really considered a very strong Drake, except if it's picked up as the first dragon of the game after these dragon buffs that have come through. Some excellent healing.
And also, the next dragon that's going to be coming up will be the Mountain Drake. So they may be able to get that in time before the tower plating's falling. Get a little bit of extra damage there. And let's take a quick look over here at the top lane. Kayer's a little bit of a repeat of last game in a way. He's really getting fought hard. He's being pushed off of CS. He's being pushed under his tower. although even though he is being pushed off as much as he is to Urgot, it is a ranged champion, so he is able to still pick up some farm.
Important thing to mention is that Kiers is using that Summoner's Spellbook and using Barrier right now. So, normally I'd say that's kind of a questionable choice, but if you know that you are the weaker top laner in the 1v1, having that Barrier as an option to deter the potential tower dive from Outcast Ronin, not a bad idea.
Absolutely, and because he has the spellbook, it isn't hurting his late game, which would be the big concern, that later in the game he wouldn't have the map presence from teleport, or he wouldn't have the as good 1v1 potential with
Purple in the bottom. Find Beta Bender, there's the pop-up coming through. One more auto is the stun. There they find it, looking for it. There's the Pantheon Sin coming through. Beta Bender going down, Cure 30, able to pick up that kill, and that's a big catch in the bottom lane there, and a great death brush in from the jungler and support duo of Oracle.
And just a little bit of spiciness in the mid lane, but nothing to come of it there. Overall, that's what we see. The Pantheon being able to just lock down people. The Braum then able to get some free auto attacks off to proc his stun as he wishes. And once Braum gets back to the tower, there's the Demolish proc. That should be 2 tower platings gone before any real contest can come up.
Yeah, they might be able to get 3 here. Alice are not quite back yet. Mumu isn't in the same vicinity.
Looks like they're going to be backing out. In fact, the minions might take out the plating in time. No, looks like they won't be taking out the plating. If anything, I might have actually wanted the minions to take out the plating there, since there was no enemy champions under the tower. It wouldn't have actually gotten gold for the enemy team. But for now, it doesn't matter. It's fine. Fine play.
Everything is fine. Everything is good. No problems at all.
So,
drag
Alpha
back
Aloe,
those infernal chains. For that 1v1 in the top lane. Keezer's taking a lot of punishment from this Aatrox. Does have the move speed. Gonna be, here comes that gank there. Urgot ult already being used. That's the Aatrox ultimate popped. Fear Beyond Death gonna get used more than a little early there. And Outcast Ronin able to live easily. Though Amumu comes for the gank. Not gonna be anything out of that.
A little bit. I don't know if Kazers does play Urgot or not, so maybe he doesn't understand how that works fully. It could have been a misclick, but since it wasn't a misclick, he maybe just thought that his jungler Alpha Aloe was a little bit closer than he actually was, and maybe he could have bursted down Outcast in time. But now backup plan is here.
Gank coming up top. Urgot does have the flash. Mumu is around, does have that ultimate as well. It's the barrier pop. Gonna be getting that summoner out. Mumu coming up top, not gonna be finding anything to help bolster with the gank.
So for now, pretty solid showing from both teams. Nothing too crazy. It's a 1-1 on kills. Both teams are pretty close in gold. Oracle does have a very slight lead, 16.4 versus 15.7. That's a 0.7 gold lead, 700 gold. Not huge. Although overall, I'd say that Oracle has the better lane control. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do decide to.
There's the ult coming through. Pantheon ult dropping. That's going to be the ult coming through. They find the damage. One goes under the tower there. That's Urgot completing the teleport, looking for the Kaisa. That Spirit Viking, Space Viking caught under the tower, taking so much damage. Teleport comes through. Orianna gets the ult with 2. It's a turnaround. They find the damage. It is just 2 remaining. The Aatrox is going to get dropped lower and lower. That's going to be the Mumu getting the ultimate, finding the kills. A full ace coming through for the side of Virgo.
That everything could have gone right for Oracle there, but the TP from Outcast, or from Kayers rather, and the Amumu coming in right at the end ended up just being too much. And that incredible Orianna ultimate getting the double kill, that's going to be securing the Mountain Drake for them as well. So not only do they now have a 4 kill lead, they do now have a Mountain Dragon. That's going to be really powerful for them. And they're also denying that extra damage to Baron from Oracle.
So here's the thing. Setting up the Kaisa to be dived multiple times is how you deal with that pick in the first place. You want to have push priority. You want to dive them. And the problem is they didn't have the setup to actually handle a dive.
Right.
And the big problem came through. They didn't have a good creep setup, and they didn't focus the Kai'Sa. Alistair does not matter. You kill the Kai'Sa, and you just let the Alistair waddle around like an idiot. That is how you play that dive, but instead they focused down Beta Benner, and like, yeah, you got the kill on the Alistair, but then all of you died in exchange. And
that's right. Once Alistair uses his abilities, what is he going to do?
He just walks around like a big dumb fat cow idiot. And 10 seconds later, he gets to do stuff again. But Kai'Sa is a problem in that fight, especially with the Stormrazor, and it was just a very rough dive, especially when you didn't have the vision set up for that. If you look at the ward control, there wasn't enough deep vision in the jungle to make sure that a Mumu wasn't coming, and it was just a poorly conceived dive.
It seems like Oracle maybe let the first game go to their head a little bit. They aren't quite as ahead as they maybe think that they are in this matchup, so they had to be careful. They're good. They did really, really good in the first game. They did great. But they cannot just sleep on Virgo. They have to still play the game very seriously, or they're going to have issues.
I think that's a given, especially with the competition coming through from Virgo. This game, I feel, is a lot better at punishing the kind of decisions that Oracle was making in the last match. So we'll see if that trend continues, or Pantheon Dash available does still have that stun. The Inferno Chain's coming through looking for this. No way for Keezers to escape. One last spear shot. Gets backup plan his first kill of the match on this Pantheon. Gesundheit.
So now the Herald is open. There is vision on it on the side of Virgo, so they will know now that Oracle
here's the
wants
game
to
coming
take
through.
it.
Mumu finds the Braum. That's going to be that Glacial Fissure used. They're looking for the escape. Catches him in the tail end of the Mumu. Oh, that's going to be Lollipop picking up first kill of the game on that Kai'Sa. And, I mean, Alpha Aloe is just getting the angles to come in on these fights. And it's worth mentioning that the decision-making from Oracle, a little bit subpar in this match.
Yeah, it seems like they're taking fights that maybe they shouldn't be. They're relying too much on individual skill and not so much on team fighting and making those decisions together. They're going to have to shape that up a little bit if they do want to win this. So they're going to be taking the Herald to the top lane for now. Looks like they're just going to hold on to it and take it somewhere else, since In Your Face is now rotating. So where we're going to see that end up, we'll just have to see. It looks like Space Viking
Galio's
going to
get caught off. Space Viking is here, does have that Hextech Portabelt, there's the flash coming through, does have that damage reduction, the flip is there, and Galio runs out of health. In Your Face, able to pick up that kill, and Space Viking a little bit further forward.
He must not have realized that the bot lane was missing, so he ended up being a little bit too far ahead, and that's going to be his tower gone.
Oh yeah, and even with the Rift Herald available, this is no chance to defend this. So Gold Lead now starting to really get in favor of this Virgo team. Up now just a little bit over 2,500 gold, getting close to that 3K mark. Looking for the play, gonna play one back, I guess. Here comes Outcast Ronan looking for this play against the Urgot. Urgot did just scuttle out of there, lightning fast speed. So
once those legs start moving, he can go.
Aatrox is going to be opting for the Ghost Blade first. I'm not so sure about that one in this particular top lane.
It does seem a little bit strange, especially when you're going against someone as beefy as Urgot. You would want to go not for something to chase down people, but instead to get more damage, something like a cleaver.
Ooh, they're looking for the Alistair. That's a lot of damage and a great pick-off. Doesn't even have the ultimate available, so a really nice pickup by the Lucian. Now 3-1. Hjorth having another good game here.
So they are going to be able to take this drag without much contest. And the question is, will they be able to follow up with a fight, or is this going to be
Galio looking for that, finds that play, looking for the escape here. That's Orianna. Once again, gonna see Virgo using the blast cone. Not like this, man. Not like this.
That was awfully close there, but they just couldn't get on the correct side of that blast cone and ended up being separated quite a bit. And now the Herald is going to be spawned in the bot lane. Or not bot lane, mid lane rather. So that is one tower down. Now are they going to protect this Herald and make sure that they get... they're going to make sure they get the charge off, but will they be able to fully take this
Popping the
tower?
culling there. Amumu does have the ultimate as well as Flash. They got to be careful. Mid lane tower gets dropped fairly low there, but they wisely decide to back off the play. Gold is equalized significantly, only about 1,300 separating the squads now, and good
That's
news
not a
for
full item even.
Oracle fans. Yeah, on one person.
Right. So it seems like what's sort of happening here is just they're both staying there. They're both staying in top lane. There isn't a whole lot of efforts. There was one thing down in the bot lane with some teleports for both from Aatrox and Urgot, and now they're just going to be able to take this tower in the top lane without any contest because the only one there was Outcast Ronin.
Yep.
And we are coming up on 20 minutes pretty soon, but Virgo has much better vision control around this Baron.
I mean, Virgo is also in just kind of a better state as a team right now. They've got a really strong engage comp. They're ahead by about 2,000 gold. They have the ward control down, and it's going to be a while before some of the members of this Oracle team are going to be able to come online. I mean, Galio going for the Hextech Proto Belt and nothing else so far. That's rough.
Right, they have pinged for going to the Baron now, so we'll see if they go for it. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. This is Oracle we are talking about, but they will have to clear out a whole lot of vision in the river. There are 2 control wards there, so Virgo knows. Virgo knows that they are here and that they want to take this Baron. And Virgo probably also knows that there's only 3 of them there.
The thing I'd like to mention here as far as the compositions go between these squads is Virgo has a pretty good Baron take, but Oracle has a really good team to deny a Baron that's in progress.
Absolutely. And maybe they're expecting now for Virgo to be more aggressive on the Baron after that first game. After that first game, they may be thinking that now Virgo will be wanting to take the Baron at 20 minutes. So we're going to make sure that they can't do it. And that's why they have the Braum and the Pantheon and the Lucian and the Galio as well. These are all very, very good anti-Baron taking champions. But they're not incredible Baron taking champions themselves, but they are good space deniers, which we have seen.
Exactly.
They do a very good job of denying space around this Baron to either make sure that they get it or at least ensure that a fight will happen in their favor near the Baron. I think that part of what Oracle does is they've just practiced fighting in that area so much that they are as at home there as they are in their own lanes. And I think that is what helps them so much in these fights. So we've seen a little bit of a lane swap down in the bot lane. Now Ronin and Kayers are both down there, whereas it seems like the script has flipped a little bit. Now it's Virgo hanging out in bushes near Baron, trying to deny space.
Right, and that's going to be Aatrox burning the teleport. They want this play, going in looking for the Orianna. Galio coming good. It's going to come up a little bit short into the backline looking for the Ori. Does not have the flash. She's caught up. Going to get annihilated. Beta Banner going to be the next target. Coming through there. The Ignite taking down that Ouster. The true damage will be enough. Outcast Ronin takes the kill. And with 2 main members dead on the side of Virgo, it's Oracle's chance to take a Baron.
Absolutely. The only one really here to contest it is Aloe and Lollipop, and Kayers are coming. Will they be able to do it?
Does have flash, does have the ultimate. No Rage Blade completed yet from the Kai'Sa. This Baron only down to half health. 10 seconds until the respawns come through. They may be forced to fight this. They're looking for the engage. Coming through, there's going to be the stun onto the Mumu. Is going to be looking to find this ultimate. Doesn't even get a chance to get it off, and that's going to be a deletion onto the jungle. They turn back to the Baron, but their take is so slow here, and it got slowed down even further. It's going to be the respawns coming through. Baron is taking a fair bit of damage, but this is so slow. They have to back off the play. And that's going to be a denial on the objective take in exchange for Alpha Aloe's life.
So that CC chain was pretty important there. You know that Adamumu has ultimate, and you know that if you do not respect it, if you don't do something about it, your entire team is going to be rooted, since they were so close together. So as soon as Moon was caught out, they put every single stun they had, one after another. He wasn't able to do anything. That CC chain is every tank's nightmare.
He got juggled. It was terrible.
But that's just how League of Legends plays nowadays.
The last time he got to hit a button was before he got CC'd the first time. So, feels sad.
There's nothing he could do. He just had to take it. And it looks like we're going to be seeing another fight here. Just Baron all the time when you play with Oracle.
Now, worth mentioning, both teams have all their ults back up, except for the Aatrox, who still is about 15 seconds off that World Ender.
Right, and the hero's entrance from Galio does have another 32 seconds as well. Yeah. But with the backs coming from Virgo, it looks like they've decided to stay out of this for now. They have enough champions in the area to be able to contest Baron if Oracle decides to do it, which they have decided to do because it's Oracle. At every chance they get,
Galio
they're going to go for that big Baron.
Does have the teleport. Oh, they're looking for this Baron getting done so slowly because the Lucian's damage is just not that high for an 80 carry. Galio shoving up that bot lane. Going to be teleporting in there. They're looking to ward off the play. Braum in the front line. We do see the movement with both summoners still. Going to be going into the pit. Baron dropped into 4,000 health. That's a great ult onto the backline. Going through there. Galio getting the taunts through. Will be getting that. But still, the backline. There's the Resurrect coming through from the Aatrox. They can't lock down any of the members. Amumu finally falls, but Orianna able to clean up that top laner. And it's only the Lucian left. A 4-for-1 going in favor of Virgo.
Galio, he tried using his ultimate there, but it ended up just getting CC'd away. It's a difficult thing to deal with in a team fight like that. You have to, as a tank player, you want to be in front of your team. You want to be able to protect your team. But with that ultimate, you want to actually be away from your team, so then once they get engaged on top of you, can use your ultimate safely and have it not get stunned out, which ended up being what happened for Space Viking there.
Right, and I mean, you're looking at a situation where your Galio doesn't do any damage. Like, that is... Hextech Proto Belt and Morello Namicon is not what most would consider a traditional Galio build.
And normally you would go for something a little bit more thick as far as AP goes, especially with Galio. Now, he's definitely not really a tank anymore. They reworked a lot of his abilities to give him more AP in his abilities with one of the newer patches, so he's more of a lane bully. He's more of a mage now, which, as a top laner who used to play Galio quite a bit, that does make it a little bit sad. I like playing really thick Galios, but that's just how it is sometimes. And the Urgot down in bot lane, Kayers, just the split push, they're going to have to dedicate something. It looks like it's going to be Space Viking going to try and make sure that this tower doesn't get taken.
Right, and I mean, once again, Urgot is being an instrumental part of the reason why these teams are winning, but let's not tell any of the other members of this Virgo squad short. They've really come back in the second game and figured out a plan that has worked for them very, very well.
So the Lucian burned his ult, just a little bit of wave clear there. He has nothing too much to come of it. And this is going to be a siege on the top inhibitor tower.
It's gone.
And the bot tower already fell.
They're going to be looking for this Urgot here. They do have the Aatrox in, finding the damage. Space Viking drop very, very low. One more auto. He finds the kill in the 2v1. Outcast does have the ultimate a little bit. Keezer so very strong. Will beating that W back up in just a... Getting the damage in on to Aatrox. World Ender denied there. Maybe looking for the re-engage, but no. Keezers wins the 1 versus 2, and the rest of his team goes down to the Nexus. Pantheon going to be dropping down, not going to be finding any party targets. Flashing and looking for the backline. Will get annihilated. Lollipop picking up the third kill of the game. Looking for the Braum under the tower now. Pixel dropping so very, very low. Looking for the 80 carry there. That's going to be yours. Focused and annihilated. The Nexus, the next target, and Virgo brings it back and brings us 1-1 in this best of 3 series.
So, Virgo, they did a really good job of figuring out what they did wrong the first game. They did not have a very strong first game, but they knew what their problems were. They didn't do a great job of controlling Baron, which they did a very good job of this time around. Their team fight, spatial denial wasn't as great in the first game. They did a very good job with that this second game. That is a very, very good response from them. They did a good job of responding to what they did wrong and adapting to it.
And I'm just looking forward to seeing what further adaptations we're going to be getting in this third and final game of this best of 3 series. I am so glad the first game of this Serenity Gaming Winter Split is coming to you as a fully true best of 3. Very lucky to see this already in the season.
So if we look at stats a little bit, the one that really stands out would have to be In Your Face and Lollipop, 7-1-5 and 4-0-8 respectively. Those very good showings from the both of them there. And if we look at the Urgot versus Aatrox, 3-1-5 versus 1-2-4. So overall, Kayers, In Your Face, Lollipop did all very, very well.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the one thing I like to point out here is the big swing in play from Keezers in the top lane there. On the Urgot this game, had a much better match into Outcast Ronin. Looked completely lost in game number 1, but found himself in this second game in a commanding position. So, really looking forward to seeing what we get out of a game 3. Get back into it.
It's going to be pretty fun to see. Until then, we're just going to have to talk a little bit until we get the pro draft back up. Actually, for now, we're going to sign off, go into a little bit of break until we get the pro draft back.
Absolutely. See you all in just a couple of minutes here on the Serenity Gaming Twitch channel.
All right, I know we all love that silver scrape so much, but for now we're going to have to go to Pro Draft. So after that second game, Virgo's looking a lot better. They're dealing with a lot of the problems that they had in the first game, but are they going to be able to continue that into the last game? We're going to have to find out. For now, Virgo is going to be taking away the Ezreal, which is what we expected. It's what they've done every game so far. And Oracle's taking away the Lucian. They decided that it didn't work out for them. They didn't have enough damage on Baron. So they're going to go ahead and take that away from the enemy team, since Virgo did like running that.
Rakan ban coming through from the side of Virgo, I think a wise choice. And one of the things that the Rakan ban does is it helps kind of preclude a Xayah pick, because it's that much weaker in the draft.
Yeah, Xayah, she doesn't synergize support. She can do all right with an I can't believe I've forgotten his name. The cow. He was just in here before.
Alistair.
I don't know why I forgot that. She does do fairly well with an Alistair, since he does fulfill a little bit of the same role as Rakan with his knockups, but still not as good. So Kai'Sa and Gragas being picked up. Kai'Sa on Virgo and Gragas on Oracle, and then there's the Alistair.
I think a wise call. Alistair was extremely successful in that last game, just being a total brick in lane, impossible to kill while that ult's up, and really providing a lot of great engage options for a team that was already tanky in the first place.
Yeah, it is a really great presence to have. We were talking about area control. Gragas is obviously really, really good with area control. His ultimate is able to either push away an enemy team or bring them all in towards his, and the barrel that he used to put down in an area and eventually have it blow up for more damage is, once again, very, very good in team fights and area denial. And we're seeing the Amumu again from Virgo. It worked really, really well for them this last game. That ultimate is so good in team fights.
So it's going to be Gragas versus the Amumu here. One of the things that I really like to see from Oracle is invading, but doing it better this time, because the Pantheon invade level 2 really cost them a lot that game. It cost them all of Pantheon's momentum as an early game jungler, and it made it virtually impossible to punish the Amumu pick heading into the mid game. And it all comes from a really questionable set of decisions made so very early into the game.
Right, that it was a little bit rough to see there. I would have liked for Pantheon to focus a little bit more on farming right at the beginning, so then backup plan, he would have his level 3, and he would have that passive from his E ability, making him get guaranteed crits on champions below 50% health. It's a very, very good thing to have when invading, because chances are they're already pretty close to 50% health just from farming. So getting them underneath the 50% mark for that extra critical damage isn't very difficult. And we are seeing the Jace get picked up from Oracle, and we're seeing a Sivir and Xayah ban from Virgo, and from Oracle and Akali and LeBlanc.
Yeah, I think the Akali and LeBlanc very smart assassin bans, as well as the Yasuo, who again has been banned every single game by the side of Oracle. He's denying that from Virgo.
So I'm expecting to see a mage in the mid lane from Oracle that would normally get very heavily punished by an assassin that can jump on top, get around all those spells. And we're seeing the Jinx come in from Oracle as well. That is always a fun thing to see. Late game champion and a very heavy snowball. As soon as you get 1 kill with Jinx, it's a lot easier to get 2. As soon as you get 2, it's a lot easier to get 3. And that's how it goes thanks to Jinx's passive haste. Once she gets 1, she starts going faster and attacks faster. So very, very fun to see there. And we're seeing the Irelia and the Swain get picked up on the side of Virgo. Irelia's Vanguard's Edge is such a good team fighting ultimate.
It sure is. I'd like to kind of swing back around to the Jinx pick here for a moment because Jinx is a great champion who is deathly allergic to things like crowd control, which Virgo has brought a lot of for this. And Jinx does not have any tools aside from a flash to escape from a CC situation. If you're rocking the Amumu, a flash curse of the Sad Mummy is going to make Jinx cry a lot.
Yeah, that sadness is going to transfer over a little bit, I feel. So she has to play very well around her Alistar. If she doesn't play with her support properly, it's going to be really, really rough. So Horth and Pixel are going to have to be just on top of each other's game if they want to be able to survive these team fights at all. And the Zoe is a pretty interesting pick as well.
Yep. For sure. I think that Zoe in the mid lane certainly has a pretty high mechanical burden, though certainly capable of doing some really good things. Into the Aurelia, if that is the choice, could cause some problems.
Yep, and Aurelia versus Zoe could be very, very good for the Zoe. And that's what we were talking about before. We were probably going to be seeing a mage that would suffer against assassins. So seeing the Akali and LeBlanc get taken away makes sense. And because Zoe's, the only movement that she actually has is her ultimate, but it doesn't actually move her any. It just temporarily puts her somewhere else.
Displacement, as it were.
Right. So going up against an assassin, it isn't that great because the assassin could just sit and wait where Zoe's going to be coming back out and kill her then. So very reasonable to see that. But that could still be a little bit of a problem against the Swain, since the Swain does have that root, and if he knows where someone is going to be, it's not going to be very difficult to land it.
Right. I mean, the hitbox on that never move is, very, very strong.
Right. And the resulting root from it, not only does it root you, but it also pulls you towards Swain. And it goes through minions, since it only roots on its way back.
Well, I think that I need be a little specific here. The root and the pullback only happens if Swain clicks on you afterwards. It is not baked into the ability. That's something that Swain can do on all crowd controlled opponents, is pull them back.
That's true. And what I was saying before with the being able to go through minions, the pull, it goes through and only on its way back will it root people. So that is a really, really great landing tool, since it makes you constantly afraid, and you're not able to just hide behind minions like you are against, say, a Lux or an Ahri or other mid lane champions. So it's going to be pretty interesting to watch that. It's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle for Space Viking, but if he can pull it off, then it's going to work out well for him.
Right.
Because Zoe late game, so much damage, so much. The CC from her Drowsy is great too.
It's great, but one of the things that Zoe is weak to is getting blown up instantly, because again, she does not have any real escape ability or instant CC to get someone off of her face, and that's kind of what Aurelia is all about. So,
and if we look at that, that's a recurring thing throughout Oracle. Jace doesn't have really good disengage. He has great engage with his jump. The Alistar, once again, very good engage, not great disengage. And the Jinx, exact same thing. So it's going to be pretty interesting. This is pretty much just a full engage team that they have here. They have really good engage. And it's going to be the 5-man invade, because it's Oracle. That's what they're going to do. They do it every game. Where are they going to go? We're going to have to see.
What if they did it 2 games in a row just to trip you up for the third?
Well, last time last time I watched them play 3 games, they did it 3 games in a row. I've never seen them go for a standard.
Maybe the 6th
across the
game
river
is going to be the mix-up.
Maybe it is. Maybe that's what it's going to be. And we're just going to have to see.
In fact, I virtually guarantee it. 100 Zimbabwe dollars.
I will take that bet.
Excellent. It's a deal. We'll see what's going on here as we wait for the spectator delay. We'll be back in just a few minutes with this match.
To hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, or we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding. Only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A soul ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last light. Hearing voices from afar, join the madness when the curtain falls. Risk it all, hold nothing back. Seize the day, we must attack. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding. Only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A soul ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the Can we bring to fall the giants? 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 We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy.
So we are back into the Summoner's Rift. Really great first game from Oracle, really great second game from Virgo. Overall, a good showing from both teams. Now, what are they going to do? Looks like Oracle, they're going for the standard hold. Looks like you were right. Looks like I owe you 100 Zimbabwean dollars.
Oh, looks like it's Virgo's turn for the 5-man.
Will Worth see it? Is he going to get caught out? He's going to have to run
Is
away.
it the speed
And there's
that's
the
gonna be the
thresh hook.
flash? Ooh, gonna be a swing and a miss there from Beta Banner. That's a rough one. Cause okay, so the Jinx actually did have to burn flash there. I didn't notice that until just now. That's actually, I would consider 100% worthwhile trade. Especially
Right now,
on,
the Jinx, her only escape is now gone until it comes back up halfway into laning phase.
oh yeah. He's in
And
the trouble bubble right now.
and now the counter invade from Oracle here. Kyre's maybe getting caught out. Nope, looks like they're going to take the stealthy
no, that's
route.
so clever. All right, so what
Metal
they're doing
Gear.
here is, yeah. What was that noise? Um,
Must have just been the wind.
I So they're gonna be able to steal this blue buff. This is so clever from the side of Oracle. Amumu can't do anything without that, and it's not like Alpha Aloe knows that that's going to happen. It simply is not capable of that.
And they ended
Face
up
gets
not
some
going
great
for the
damage.
blue buff on the side of Oracle. They didn't steal that blue buff. So now that's just Amumu down on blue buff. And is he actually going to try and go for the invade?
Oh, he is. They
still?
saw that. How did... Okay, so...
Maybe he was just checking it out.
Maybe he was just... That's a good point. Maybe he thought that Gragas has started unready, because that's a common thing that you'll see Gragas is doing. But Amumu's currently working on that Scuttle Crab. Gragas is going for the crab on the top.
And the question is he just going to go for his red buff, or is he going to try and get over to blue? If he knew that his blue was still up, he'd go for the blue now. But he doesn't. He has no vision on it.
Oh, he's going for the Raptor camp. Yeah, I don't think he sees that coming. Oh, Hook gonna go just wide of the Jinx. Not gonna be able to find that. And Gragas taking his sweet time. Gonna be getting his own red buff here.
I mean, like I said, he doesn't know that his blue buff is still there. He thinks that he's been invaded. They have no vision on it, so he'll find out eventually that his blue buff is still there. But for now, just farming.
Oh yeah. Okay, so he's gonna go back to base, pick up the Predator boots. I think that's a good option. Going to the top side of the map again.
So yeah, he absolutely thinks that his blue buff is gone. So he's just
What
going
a
to get his
comedy
raptors.
of errors.
Well, he'll find out eventually that his blue buff isn't gone, but he may try to time it so that he goes towards that blue buff by the time it respawns, and he just wasted a blue buff. We'll see. For now, it looks like a little bit of fight in the mid lane, the trouble bubble coming through, and Outcast running already down here, but the flash from In Your Face is going to get him away.
You have him looking around this bottom lane, and the hard shove-in coming through in favor of the Kaisi here. Jinx having some problems in this 2 versus 2. Pardon me. Nothing particularly surprising given the blown flash early.
And also going up against a Thresh, especially not having flash, you had to be very, very careful. That's sort
There's
of
the
an
stun
early game
on to
component.
the Zoe, taking so much damage. In Your Face does have the Ignite, so Zoe's got to be real careful. Here comes the gank coming up. Will force the flash out of the Gragas, trading 1 for 1 there. It was the Jace who flashed. Pardon. Gragas kept his.
But since Swang did flash in return, ends up being a even trade there. Kyers does have a ward in that river bush, so he knows that backup plan is there, and he's just going to stay back. So, yeah, and now backup plan realizes his mistake, and he's playing the long mind game here. He's got to think that Kyers thinks that he's left.
Jace is going to be the beneficiary of this wave, though, so...
It looks like overall the mind games just back and forth have caused both of them to take the safe route and back. And finally, the blue buff is gone. Amumu did invade and take it. Still really funny that backup plan didn't know that he actually had access to it and ended up losing it later on. Now, will he see Aloe here? He does, and he doesn't really do anything with it.
Well, it's just one of these comedy of errors things where Gragas bought himself a lot of advantages, but he didn't do anything with it. Like, he kind of, like,
he didn't know that he had a lot of these advantages. They didn't have vision on that blue buff.
Also, goodbye, Cleanse. It's going to be a big summer down for Space Viking. Brilliant now with options in that 1 versus 1 mid.
Right, and just a little bit of presence there. Now the bot lane has swapped, so to speak. There's now a lot more pressure coming in from Oracle, and that is so that they can back safely and buy some items. What we're going to be seeing from there, I imagine we're going to be seeing some sort of damage on. There it is, the BF sword from Jinx. So she's going to be building that into probably a Storm Razor or something along those lines to get a little bit more damage.
Not a particular surprise there with the potential rocket damage coming through, but either way, BF sword, definitely something you like seeing if you're a Jinx player.
I mean, Jinx, you can't just solely go attack speed, although it's kind of tempting sometimes. Attack speed is nothing without proper damage to go with it.
For sure.
It looks like
They're looking
fight
for a
mid
play
lane.
in the mid lane, going through the. It's a big stun onto the Aurelia, taking so much damage, no flash available. And that's going to be in your face, going down here. First blood for the Chase.
So it looks like maybe a little bit of a swap here. Outcast Run, I think he's going to be playing the mid lane now, whereas Space Viking has gone up to top lane. I don't know if he's going to stay there or whether or not they're going to switch back.
Does find Alpha Allo. Mumu does have the
fired
flash
over blue buff
for the play there. Oh wow, they find the sleep there, but the Sleepy Trouble Bubble not going to land.
Just a little bit off.
Yeah.
So close.
Especially for the flash commit from Space Viking. It's rough. That should have been a kill on the Mumu, but as we said in the pregame, Zoe is actually a hard character to play.
Yep, despite, I mean, she wasn't for a little bit, but they made her difficult to play by nerfing her so that she's actually reasonable. But that's Rito. That's what Rito does. So, pretty standard game beyond that. Nothing too crazy. Oracle does have the first blood, so that is looking up in their favor, and they are about 1k gold ahead. But, like I said, nothing too crazy. So the Mountain Drake is the first dragon to be up. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing a little bit of presence around there from one of the teams. Mountain Drake is a very good first dragon to get before the
Here comes the
falls,
Predator
so
play in the top lane, looking for the Aurelia, finding the damage to teleport pop, though. Gragas going to get annihilated. Teleport coming through. They're looking for the chase. Is here. Stun won't land, but that's a demonic ascension pop from the Swain. Not able to get the kill. A double kill for the Aurelia. But that's the hook landing in the bot lane against the Alistair. And it's going to be Virgo firing back in the top lane.
So nothing. That was pretty rough there for Gragas. Backup lane. He ended up walking into the Vanguard's edge. He lost his armor. I don't know if that would have saved him if he hadn't. I don't think it would have, but it was still pretty unfortunate for him. And it looks like, though, Space Viking is going to keep any plating from falling in the top tower. So we're seeing a lot of switches here. It's pretty interesting to watch. Outcast Run does seem to just be going mid lane now, whereas Space Viking is now playing top lane against the Swain. They decided that's just a better matchup to have the Swain against the Zoe instead of a Chase.
Well, you know, here's the thing, is that both solo laners are doing quite well now that the Aurelia has picked up those 2 kills, and one of the big problems with that last fight is Gragas wasn't level 6 on the side of Oracle, and that ultimate disadvantage, huge deal.
Absolutely, you know, this game is based around abilities, and having those abilities available to you is a big part of fights in this game. So going against someone that is higher level than you in this early game, pre-6 level, it means that they have resources that you do not just in items or damage or stats, but in actual abilities.
Yeah. So I'm not going to land another Gragas. Looking for the collapse coming through here. Is he able to flash over the wall? A very close escape by In Your Face. Well played by the Aurelia.
Absolutely, and that was a dedicate on the flash from backup plan as well. So a 1-for-1 flash trade. Overall, nothing too bad. And she's already back in lane, farming up.
Hey, it's a tower plating going down. So Jinx has managed to recover marvelously from the early deficits, and Lollipop and Beta Ben are just not able to put in the pressure that they may have been looking for with that flash blown early. Now available again for the Jinx.
Yeah, Jinx is a pretty interesting beast. She essentially has 2 different auto attacks available to her. And with the Alistar, she does have really good tower pressure. She can deal a lot of damage to towers. Her minigun will absolutely shred through them. So not surprising to see a little bit more pressure there onto that tower. They want to get those platings early on. And so that's why they're playing the way they are, is because they want to be able to scale faster than the Kaisa. Both these champions are later game ADCs, and so you're trying to make sure that you're the one that scales harder in this situation. And it looks like there was a little bit of a tussle in the mid lane. Alpha Aloe is looking for something, but backup plan is pretty close by. He's sitting at Raptor, so if something does come out of it, he will be there to help. And it looks like Aloe is going to be getting away.
It's one of those low points in the game. No neutral objectives worth really taking on the map. Not enough pressure to get anything like a Rift Herald. And Dragon's still a minute and 45 seconds off. Still got some turret platings to take if teams are capable of doing that. Though I am shocked at the very low tower parity we've seen so far. But In-Your-Face getting collapsed on. Going to be getting the stun onto 2. Looking for the turn here. Mumu's here. Going to be ulting in. Finds 2 with that. The Gragas and the Jace dropping low. But that's going to be the Reliant coming against the damage ignite coming down. It's 1 kill. That's a second. They managed to make the turnaround. Get 2 kills. Alpha Aloe there. Just in time to save the play.
And that Jinx ultimate not quite enough to take out In-Your-Face. That's really rough. I'll Outcast were in there, but in the end, it's really just good plays from In-Your-Face. The Outcast Ronin set up the barrier so to empower his projectile, but In-Your-Face just ended up going a different direction, so wasn't put in danger from that. If In-Your-Face had gone through that little barrier, he ended up probably would have died there. But in the end, Aloe was there to pick up any slack and to ensure the success of In-Your-Face's play and the presence that In-Your-Face has with
G-Man Pulverize coming through in the bot lane, looking for the player. That's the flash set of Beta Bender looking for the stun. G managed to find it. Gragas is here, putting the cask down. That's going to be pulling the Alistar onto the tower. Finding the damage is going to lock down the kill, and that's going to be a kill going over to the Jinx. Much needed for the 80 carry of Team Oracle.
Absolutely, and with Pixel getting away, that is going to give Hjorth what he needs to sort of push over the edge here, get that little bit of extra gold, a little bit of extra lead, so that he'll be able to establish a good amount of damage for his team. As we know, Oracle loves playing around the Baron, and that is actually going to be a second Mountain Drake coming up. That's going to be huge. With Virgo getting the first one, Oracle can't miss out on this. Looks like they're already heading in that direction with backup plan heading there, and Pixel isn't too far away.
Right, absolutely. And I mean, getting that Mountain Drake could be a big boon for the chances of Oracle really closing this game out, but going to be going wide on the Alistar and the Gragas.
And they don't want Virgo to have 2 Mountain Drakes as well. That would be pretty
especially
rough
with the
for them to deal
Kaisa.
with.
Especially with the Kaisa. I mean, the ability for the Amumu to cry down the Baron as well. That burn is not to be scoffed at. Ooh, Alice, you get the pulverize there, looking for the kill on a Lollipop. Going to use the burn that killer in. The play is going to be going wide with the hook, finding the damage. There's the heal. Alistar without the ult going to be going down. Lollipop picking up his first kill of the game on this Kaisa.
So that wasn't what Oracle wanted there. They ended up getting caught out a little bit. Pixel, he engaged, but his team wasn't really ready to help him, and because of that, they ended up getting caught out, and the Gragas ultimate ended up not really doing a whole lot there since it was dropped in the Tribush. It didn't really it didn't move people very far because they just went straight into the walls. But with the Mountain Drake now being taken down,
they're
Oracle's
looking
gonna have to do
for
something.
the Zoe, forced to flash out now to safety. Something I'd like to mention here about that play is Alistar didn't have the ultimate as well, which is quite a bit of tankiness that support would be lacking in the fight. Looking to trade this Rift Herald there, but Outcast already dropped very low. Demonic Ascension coming through from the Swain, does have the flash, looking to pop it over the wall. That's going to be the ult. Teaser's picking it up against Outcast Ronin, and Virgo is running away with the match. It's going to be the play onto the Alistar. Does have the Unbreakable Will this time, still burning him down. The stun coming through from the Aurelia, going to be looking for this. That ult will time out, no escape. Teaser's picking up a second, and now mid lane tower under threat from Virgo running a riot on Oracle.
Not very often you actually see the Vision of Empire kill someone, but we did see it there. Pretty funny to see. Yeah, even with that Unbreakable Will, Alistar, he is very, very tanky, but that's the only way he's ever a tank. And now Virgo is going to be able to take out the Herald. That is going to be a lot of pressure, especially since they've already taken the mid tower. They will be able to either push into inhibitor turret for free, or even up another lane.
I'd really like to see the side of Virgo dropping hard commit push in one of the side lanes, eating 2 towers from that. You've got Mountain Drake, you've got creeps in the bot lane. Just send 4 people there and run the Rift Herald into the inhibitor.
Absolutely, there's not a lot you can do. That's going to be an insane amount of damage. As soon as the Herald has sort of reset from the charge, chances are that tower is already fallen from just the amount of team damage you have against that tower. That bonus damage from the double Mountain Drakes is going to be huge in the upcoming fights. And we still got another 2.5 minutes until Baron comes up.
Right, exactly. And one of the big things about having those bot lane towers down is it gives you that extra threat for the Baron in the top lane. If you can set up the waves so that they're crashing into the inhibitor when the Baron is spawning and contested, that puts the enemy team in a hell of a catch-22 situation there. Do we give up inhibitor health, or do we contest the Baron? It's one of those things. So
there's no good decision to come out of there. No matter what you choose, you're losing. And that is a pretty rough thing to put somebody in. And also, one thing I've never seen would actually be the Baron buff along with a Herald. Theoretically, it could happen if the Herald is taken late enough and the Baron taken early enough. You could have both at the same time.
Yep.
And that would be devastating to towers, especially with a team with 2 Mountain Drakes taking out an extra.
For a catch
but it looks like
Keezers is going to be popping the ultimate. Oh, that's going to be the ultimate from the Jace going wide. Finding the snare there. Keezers looking to be forced off here. Cast Ronin and Amumu is here, though. That's the Demonic Ascension going to be used. Mid lane tower under threat. They do have 2 here. Looking for them to pulverize against the Kai'Sa. The Drowsy is in. Damage going wide. Kai'Sa will be able to make her way out of this in one piece. A great hourglass in from the Swain. Going to be popping that stopwatch to save his own life under the tower.
So, pretty soon we're going to have to see the Herald to be dropped.
Oh my god, Swain almost dies from that shock blast. Oh, they find the Zoe. That's going to be a kill going into Inyo. Face 4th of the game here. It's going to be the Rift Herald popped in the mid lane. Not a terrible choice. They should be able to get this inner tower with their Mountain Drake damage.
But because they did spawn it pretty far back, that is going to give Oracle time to deal with it. They're not even going to be able to take the second tower.
Yeah.
But one good push is going to take that out, especially because they're running Demolish on their team. They'll be able to take it out pretty fast as soon as they get under.
Alright, so towers are currently 2-2 between these squads, but a 2,000 gold lead in favor of this Virgo squad. Looking pretty good here, getting some of those resets in. And once you see more and more items come through, I mean, Inyo face is huge on this Aurelia. 4-1 and 2 right now. Already the completed Trinity Force. Has the Hex Drinker, going to be going presumably for a Sterex Gauge as the second finished item.
Sterex Gauge is a really good item for especially in a little bit more of an engaging
Outcast
comp
Ronin
that
wants
they have.
this fight. No ultimate available from Keezer's going to get the slow, finding the damage. That's Outcast Ronin going to be doubling back. Does get the shut down onto the Swain, and Keezer's playing with fire, not having that ultimate available.
Yeah, it's a pretty big part of his kit there. And the Baron is up, and Oracle and Virgo are having a lot of presence around here. So we're going to be seeing a fight in the river pretty soon. Both teams are trying to scout out each other, trying to figure out where they are.
15 seconds
like
till
now
Keezers.
They're going to go for the top tower.
No teleport available for this defense. It's going to be the Sleepy Triple landing onto Beta Benner's Thresh. They should be able to save this tower for right now. Reinforcing waves are going to be moving on past the tower. Right,
Oracle just doesn't have the damage that they need to wipe out the waves fast enough, or the tower, and so it's pretty rough for them right now. The Jinx just can't get quite in range to get the damage that she wants on the tower. Right now, it's just the double.
Health bars are low though. Health bars are low though. Keezers is here, does not have the stacks on his Swain thinger. Ooh, gonna be looking for the damage. Wow, Beta Benner gets clocked by that Zoe Paddle Star while his Sleep takes so much health. going to be forced to back off here. They may want to fight. Alpha Aloe looking for the bandage toss. They will instead make the call to back off the tower. Health bar still low. They're going to have a disjointed recall timing in here as the push continues from Oracle in the top lane.
And if Oracle can establish a good enough front line, they may decide to go for the Baron. We know that they like doing that, so we may be seeing it for now. They're just going to be focusing on taking out
that's a stun
this
on the
tower.
Jinx! So much damage! The shutdown coming through from Swain, and that is a huge positioning mistake from Kjorth, giving up so much presence on the Jinx.
They are now not able to take Baron. They just simply don't have enough damage to do it. So for now, they're just going to run away, essentially. And it seems like Virgo is wanting to take out the dragon. If they do, they will have 3 dragons to 0. And they have that Cloud Drake, which will help them roam around the map. And with that extra damage against towers that they have from Mountain Drake, that will be very, very powerful for sort of the split push that they have available to them, being able to quickly relocate around the map. It will be very, very powerful.
So Aurelia is still working on that Sterak's gauge there, just has those components. Still a bit away from that item completion, as it were. As it stands right now, Baron the main objective, but it's all positioning here between these two teams. We've entered kind of the Baron dance portion of this match. Neutral objectives are off the map, and Aurelia does not have teleport, so she is not a very effective splitting candidate. Can't join the fight if one breaks out across the map.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty difficult for them. For now, it looks like they have decided to secure the vision around the Baron for now. Whether or not they'll go for it, we'll just have to see. They are in a position to... The question is, will Oracle be able to respond in time? Their Jace Outcast is pretty far away, so whether or not he'll be able to get there to be able to contribute to a fight is questionable. And for now, it looks like just both teams are keeping an eye on each other.
So Kai'Sa opting for the Runon's Hurricane as the second item. Good for applying the plasma stacks across the team, but pretty lacking as far as being able to crush towers or Baron buff goes. So
that's right. It's more about wave clear and it's more about
right.
team fights.
Which, I can respect the wave clear with the rest of the competition. I don't think it's a bad idea at all, but in the mid lane, going to be calling the bluff on the top side of the map. Going to be grinding on this mid lane tower. We'll find that easily. Jace is pushing in the bottom lane. Aurelia continues shoving in the top. Be looking for this objective, but not a lot of creeps here to help bolster this push. They may instead just opt to grab that power in the bottom side of the map while Aurelia trades top.
That would be
Aurelia is
about
going
an
to
even
grab
trade
that.
since they did take the mid lane.
Looking for the hook, but that Jinx damage is serious. Jace continuing to pressure in the bot lane. Should be able to get this tower on the next creep push. When heading down there, maybe looking to cut him off.
No, they decided
Jace,
that he will be able to get it in time, and they're going to dedicate those resources to this mid lane. It's looking like there's going to be a fight here, but both teams are just trying to scope each other out and figure out what they're going to do and how they can take advantage of it.
Right, Aurelia already has that Sterak's completed, looking for the hook onto the Zoe. Can't quite find it. Shock Blast is there. There's Aurelia going in, looking for the damage, and onto the backline, looking for the Jinx, finding the damage, but the rest of the team is not there. She's getting burned down. Sterak's not going to be enough to save that, but the backup plan going there. But great flash pulverized from Pixel to slow that backline down. Zoe is there. How chaotic. That's going to be yours. Finally falling. Pixel will be the next victim. That'll be the Swain pop going through. Mumu will have the bandage toss in just another second or two. But there's Outcast Ronin finding the damage. Visions of the Empire cleans up the kill. They want this. That's a killer thing from the Kai'Sa. That's going to be Keezer's going. Getting the kill there. One more item from Kai'Sa would finish things off. The heal would be enough speed. But Lollipop doesn't pull the trigger, and Outcast Ronin makes an escape.
Well, that is a secured Baron for them. If they... Actually, no, I take it back. They did end up losing their sort of big fighters there for the spatial control, especially Alpha and Benner. But that is a free tower, and now they have sort of the time to set up what they want to do next. And for now, it looks like they're just going to be pushing in lanes, getting a little bit of extra farm, where they have this free time on their hands.
So the big thing about that last fight that I think is a huge mistake is Lollipop did not pop the heal to run the Jace down. One more auto attack would have been more than enough to kill that Jace, and if you kill the Jace, then you have some very disjointed death timers, and are easily able to get vision up in preparation. This Baron buff with the trigger was not pulled, so not a
And
full
also that
ace.
would have been a 500 gold shutdown,
Yes.
which would have been an item for Kaisa.
We're getting very close here. Still going to be going for the Infinity Edge. This is not what I would consider a super strong Kaisa build. You just are not able to kind of smash those objectives down like you might want to, but instead
There's sort
opting
of the
for
debate
crits
between
to
whether or
push
not you go
characters.
AP or attack speed, and her abilities will change based off of that. For a while, it's been AP Kaisa, so it is a little bit of a surprise that we aren't seeing that. Instead, they're going for a little bit more of a traditional ADC build, but a little bit of an odd Kaisa build.
Right.
So whether that's a mistake or purposeful, we're going to have to just
Dragon,
wait
10
and see.
seconds. See what flavor that's going to be.
And it's going
Delicious
to be a mountain.
Okay, so they're going for the Baron here. They
Well, they
may
managed
have
to
the
get
damage.
3
They
mountain
do have,
drakes.
So they do have the speed on this, but look how fast that Baron is falling. It's already down to half health. They're still miles away from this objective. That's a bad trade from Oracle. That's going to be the Baron going down, but they now need to book out and escape. The Shock Blast going wide of Beta Benner, looking to chase him down. Thresh may be the sacrificial lamb here. Ooh, they're going to be looking for Pixel. The Alistair ult forced out. Vision to the Empire is there. There's the CC onto that target. It's going to be Benner going down. Pixel is still alive. Give me the Sleep Lollipop able to get that kill. Alpha Aloe very low as well on this. Amumu ends up being a 1-for-1 total. So not terrible in the trade, but peeling the Baron buff off of Beta Benner, not bad for Oracle in the slightest.
It's not bad for Oracle, but it's not as much as they wanted, because the Thresh doesn't do a whole lot of damage against towers. Anyway, that's not really his focus. So getting it off of the ADC,
They didn't
or
even
maybe
get the
off
dragon!
and they never managed to get the dragon, and now Virgo is there. So
They're going to be looking for this. They're going to be looking for the fight here. Dragon already dropped down to half. The contest has been called here. They do have the members dropping real low. They're forced on back, and that's going to be the third Mountain Dragon going over there. Geezers is here, does have the flash. They're looking to cut it off. There's the Drowsy coming through. Here's the fight. Amumu is there. They found the back line. That's 2 going down immediately. Looking for a third. We'll find it. That's going to be Pixel. And it's just Space Viking left. Virgo running a riot. And Oracle sent scattering. Baron buff, 3 dragons. This is almost certainly going to be game in favor of the Virgo squad.
Those towers are just disintegrating thanks to the Baron buff and the 3 mountain drakes. This is so quick. They're going to be able to run this straight down to the final Nexus towers. They're just falling in a matter of seconds before any respawns. They are going to be hitting the inhibitor, and I think that's going to be it. That's going to be GG. Virgo turned it around in the reverse sweep to take the series.
Right, absolutely, and great play from Virgo. Great adaptations overall coming back into this one, figuring out what they needed to do to overcome what Oracle was bringing to the table, and boy, howdy did they, taking this very first series of the Serenity Gaming Wintersplit.
So that was a great showing from them. They did a great job of just figuring out what they were doing wrong, and they adapted. That is an incredibly important thing to do. When we saw Oracle play against Ares in the sort of last half of the split, that's something that Ares wasn't able to do. They were never able to figure out how to properly contest the Baron, but Virgo did it perfectly. They did a great job of controlling the objectives, getting those dragons, and by the end, they had established dominance doing that. By the end of it, they had 3 mountain drakes. Those are not things you want to give up to a team that is focusing around Baron. That is incredibly powerful, and it ended up paying off for Virgo.
And I mean, you know, Virgo just playing their matches pretty well, and I think just a very smart decision making there, and I really love the Aurelia pick coming into that game 3. Just a wrecking ball in every single team fight. As well as Keezer to win 8-1 and 5 in the top lane. Swain. Ooh! Well done.
I mean, Aurelia is such a strong pick in general, and in that composition ended up being perfect. That Vanguard's Edge just wiping people out, setting them up for great team fights, and ended up taking it to the end. So, it is time to talk about MVPs. So, the straw polls are up. Everyone in the chat, go and click on those and vote for who you think was the MVP for both teams. So, I think first game on Oracle, it has to be Outcast Ronin.
Yeah, just a phenomenal. It was a phenomenal game from the Urgot in that first match, really controlling so much.
And I think in the second and third games for Virgo, I'm going to have to say Aloe. He did a great job on that Amumu, setting up his team. There was that one point where he got juggled and killed before he could ult, but there's nothing you can do about that.
I think he played a Amumu. Like here's what I think when I see an Amumu in game. I think, what is Amumu supposed to do? And yeah, Alpha Aloe did all the things that Amumu was supposed to do, but it didn't feel like the jungle play was really what set Virgo up to win those games. I think the biggest surprise personally was how Keezers played games 2 and 3 after game 1. Got completely steamrolled in the Fiora, and then came back, had a great Urgot match, completely took Ronin out of the game. It took
Even
Ronin
if it
out
wasn't
of
the best performance, it was the biggest turnaround.
I think it was actually one of the better performances across the series. I mean, in game number 2, the Urgot Outcast Ronin didn't get to play the game.
That's true.
Keezers completely neutralized the top lane in both the second and third games. And I think that the other players played really well, but it's like, looking at the CS between games like 2 and 3, between the top laners, I just very, very impressed overall with Keezer's performance.
I think so. I think Keezers did a great job. So, looks like we're going to have to be getting new straw polls. From what I was seeing of the other ones, Keezers and In Your Face tied for Virgo, which isn't responsible. I think In Your Face did a really good job as well. I think he was definitely one of the more consistent players on the side of Virgo.
Absolutely.
It wasn't as big of a turnaround as Keezers, but I think that overall he did a great job, especially the Orianna play in the second game was just so good. That double kill in the bot lane pretty early on ended up being huge for his team. And if we look at the votes coming in now, looks like Virgo Keezers is number 1 with 60% of the votes, and we haven't quite gotten the ones for Oracle yet, so we're just going to have to keep an eye on that. There it is. The straw poll for Oracle is in the chat, so go and click on that and say who you think was the MVP for Oracle. Right now, looks like it's going to be Outcast Ronin. He has 60% of the votes, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that.
For sure.
So I am calling it. I'm going to say Outcast Ronin, he now does 71% of the votes. And for Virgo, let's take the last check on it. Keezers, he has 50% with 6 votes. So there are our MVPs for today's match. Thank you all very much for watching. It was a great 3 games and a great reverse sweep.
Just a great series to start off this season for Serenity Gaming, and man, I gotta tell you, I am so glad to have been able to come here, cash this for you guys. I had a blast.
You brought a lot of energy into it. I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you.
I need another American.
We're drastically outnumbered.
We are. Too many Danish accents. We'll get it eventually. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching.